Hello, welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Wow, it's been a pretty big week, and I'm not going to mess around too much this week with the intro, but a lot's been going down with the FTC, with the Xbox Activision deal, with Game of the Year and Score of the Year. Whew, that was a terrible, terrible pick. There's lots to get into, but before I do get into it, I introduce everyone. Hargeet, Chani, welcome back to the show, mate. It's great to have you here. How you doing? What have you been up to this week? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been on vacation all the way through January 3rd. I'm out, so just been playing games. Recently, I've been playing the Danganronpas. They're up on Game Pass, so figured I'd check them out. Finished the first one, started the second one. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I saw you playing that. What is that?
So essentially, it's a very weird concept, but essentially, you're students that are coming to a high caliber high school, but you get tricked into being imprisoned there, and you have to kill somebody to leave, but you have to get away with it. So that's the premise of the game. It's a very weird game.
Japanese people.
Sounds great.
Yep.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I did.
So
I'll just go over a little bit of a caveat here. I'm going to say the word. I did capture some footage of Forspoken last night, but for some reason it's dropped drastic frames all the way through. I don't think it's the game, so I'm just going to skip past it. MacBound, welcome to the show. This is your very first appearance. So how you doing, man? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's things?
I'm good. Been playing Callisto Protocol, just beat it. Amazing game for me. And now I'm going to Need for Speed Unbound. Been about 7 hours into that. So
nice.
Love it. It's really good. Love the graphics, the design of everything. Not Forza good, but definitely up there. So I definitely would recommend trying it if you like any racing games.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I'll definitely be grabbing that one. It wasn't bad. Yeah, it's no Forza, but I don't think it's trying to be like that was. I don't think it was the premise or the point of the game. It's just more of that arcade, good old, fun. DoomCutie, welcome back. How you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to? You on holidays yet? What's going on there?
No, holidays start as of next Friday, so I've still got four more days of work, and then we're into the summer holidays, which I am so keen for. I'm sure you can imagine with how much I've actually been online, which is not very much. I've been playing the games that I've been requested to write about, so I've been playing those games. I jumped into a little bit of Halo last night as well, just a little bit of the campaign. But
can you tell us what you've been playing? What have you been playing? You can't tell us.
Oh, I've been. So there's one game I can't talk about, and obviously I'm still on my World of Warcraft.
Kick.
Yes, but that went live yesterday, so I put my first impressions up about that. So yeah, going pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to getting into these topics today. They're very exciting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting week. A lot happened. Pete, how you doing? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? You've been screaming at kids on Call of Duty again, or playing anything else?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm almost through Callisto Protocol, so I'm really enjoying that game. It does get annoying at times, I have to admit, with some of the combat, but yeah, love the narrative. Just the game is absolutely beautiful, so really been enjoying that. I jumped into Fortnite for a little bit because I really wanted to try out the difference between 120 mode and the 60 mode with Lumen and Nanite, and wow, you can really tell the difference. It's just utterly beautiful. And Halo had a big week this week. They dropped a lot of content. The pit's been there. There's a content browser for Forge, so really been enjoying that. And typical COD, which I'm almost at level 250. G'day Sanctus, I see you there. I'm catching you, girl. But yeah, been a great week.
Yeah, absolutely. Halo did drop a lot of content, but does anyone care? And we're going to talk about that later in the show.
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yes, we do.
Umbra, welcome back. How you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? You playing a little interesting game last night. I didn't really ask you about what that was all about.
Yeah, I've been playing a few interesting games. I got back to, like Pete pointed out, Halo has been pretty great lately with the content and the just to want to give a love and shout out to the content creators because man, they've put in some work quick in record time and some quality stuff too. And we got to get in on that tonight if you all down. But I mean, we played on that Krusty Krab map. We played on. They have now that, of course, Pete, me and you were talking about where you could switch between like realities and such from the light and dark. And they got the Squid Games one. It's like it's dope. But as far as the pit from the official crew, it is pretty dope. They did a really good job in recreating that, I think. So I've enjoyed it. Me and Mac actually got a few rounds in the other day, and I've been loving it, man. But as far as other games that I played through, Callisto Protocol as well for me. And I did play Forspoken too, Risk, and like me and you basically have the exact same view. Piss poor game, sorry. Mediocre as hell. And I thought it was going to be. And I know the demo is not all fully representative of what the game can be at the end, but I don't think it's going to get much better than this. Terrible combat as far as how it feels, the weight of it, no weight to the enemies when you're hitting them. It just feels like they're just walking around. Like it feels like you're just slashing through grass. And I guess the best compliment I can give the game is maybe some of the particle effects and maybe. And when you're like kind of doing a parkour magic run, I guess that's about it. It feels kind of cool. But other than that, it looks like an early Xbox One game, in my opinion. And it's just not good. And I figured it would be the case. But yeah, Callisto Protocol, I enjoyed that. I beat it twice. Had to go through it one time because I missed one of those audio logs, which was annoying as hell. So I went back and did that and got all the achievements. But I came to like a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I didn't see it as great as Mac, but it's not a bad game. It's good. It's just got its flaws.
Yeah, I would say more than a 7.5 for me. It's probably about an 8.
It's like only a 0.5 difference. You know what I mean? It's nothing too dramatic.
Yeah, it was a good game. It definitely had some issues with the combat. But talking about Forspoken just briefly before we do get into it, because I think me and you are the only two that have played it. Yeah, like I said, I did cap some footage of it. Unfortunately, that dropped hectic frames. I'm going to work out what's going on with my recording equipment. But it was bad. No, like really bad. After 15 minutes, I didn't want to play it anymore. I wanted to put it down, and I spent an hour with it.
Wow.
And yeah, it's like you said, it has no weight to the combat. You don't feel the hits. It's the control scheme doesn't work for me. With a quick, fast-paced combat like that, I don't like to use triggers as my attacks. I use a button press as my attacks. With the haptic feedback in the triggers, it pushes back on you. And actually, after about 10 minutes, my wrists were killing me. I might just be an old dude or out of practice with my wrists, but it was
it looks beautiful, but
it's really disappointing. It doesn't though. It looks terrible. And the art style, so it seemed a lot of cut and paste. I would bet that game is using procedural generation like heavily, which is not a bad thing, because it's different types of procedural generation. Sometimes it's curated. And it doesn't look curated. It's just really kind of bland, bad looking. I'll agree with you with the particle effects. They did a pretty good job there. Some of the animations are pretty cool too. But it just has no weight, no feel. The menus are extremely convoluted. They look pretty, but they're really hard to kind of get your head around. I did eventually get my head around what was going on, but they're not. This is the thing I think is happening in gaming at the moment. Is a lot of these menus are getting way out of control, with too many menus, doing too many things in too many different sections. And I think they just need to, as an industry, you need to simplify that a little bit, because not everyone's a rocket scientist and wants to figure out your extremely convoluted menus. But look, we'll move on. But yeah, for my view, I'd literally give that game I don't want to give it a 1, but I give it a 2. based on the demo.
Ooh, okay.
Based on the demo, it's terrible. Like, just
I don't know if I would give it that low, because it's not like it's broken, right? It's like 2 is something for something broken. I'll just give it a 5. It's just mediocre.
If I want to put a game down after 15 minutes, that's bad. Very bad. And I haven't spoken on this game at all. Like I've been very quiet about it when everyone was kind of bagging it out for how it looked. You know, when they're really, I didn't say anything. I just kept my mouth shut because I was like, well, sometimes, you know, when games have a bad showing, they come out and they can be quite good. And I was kind of hopeful that it was going to be quite good. But it just,
and I'll give you your credit. I mean, you even did it for, I mean, you've been back and forth on this for a minute for The Last of Us Part 1. I'm like, don't waste your money on that. But you gave it a chance. You did it anyway. So, hey.
Yeah, I'll give anything a chance. But yeah, this one just put it back in the, I would honestly just tear the game apart and make a new game. But that's just me. Moving on to the first topic that we've got off the top of the rung today is a bit of a disappointing one, but not one that wasn't unforeseen. And look, it's been a little bit overshadowed, but I still wanted to talk about it because we haven't yet. In a statement from Microsoft, they said, we've held on price increases after the holidays so families can enjoy the gift of gaming. Thanks, Microsoft. Starting in 2023, our new built for next-gen full-price games, including Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield, will launch at $69.99 USD on all platforms. The content, scale, and technical complexity is something that they cited as the reasons for $70 games. That is hot bullshit. Absolute just bullshit. And the other thing about this whole statement was it was extremely it was a huge marketing speak, definitely, but they weren't very clear. But based on what they said there, you can expect their next-gen games to be at $69.99, and you can expect their older games to be at $60. But they haven't been definitive about that and stated that, like, that's what they're going to do. Hey, these are going to be this, and that's going to be that. We saw this coming, and I don't remember who called it out or who it was. I might have. I'm pretty sure Umbra did as well. But
Pretty sure it was you, mate.
We thought, we did think it would be
mate.
We did think it was a $70 increase that was coming first. We didn't think it was Game Pass.
I definitely said it.
Yeah,
I did too. Yeah.
Umbra, I think you said it as well, mate. I think I have to take an L for that because I thought that they wouldn't do it. I really thought that they positioning themselves in the marketplace at $10 cheaper than everyone else was just going to be more beneficial for them. But look, I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, well, all it is, all the reason for this is everyone else is doing it. It's as simple as that. Like, if they could at least say we're just doing this to meet the market, because we know that you'll pay $70. You know, the other thing that Umbra mentioned last night is The Last of Us 2 is releasing on PC at $60. So the technical complexity, right, and the scale and the content is obviously different on PC. Either that or they're full of shit. So look, I definitely don't back this. I understand the reasoning why they're doing it. Like, it makes sense as a business. I can see it. It just makes sense. And that's fine. I get that. But as a consumer, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to pay $70 for any title. And I wanted to ask you, I didn't get your full response last night because we were having a bit of fun at a party. But Umbra, I just wanted to get your full response on $70 games because you've been a staunch supporter of staying at 60.
Yeah.
Extremely
anti-70 games.
Extremely anti-70. But what are you going to do now? You said you're going to lean on Game Pass, but talk to me. What if something you run out of rewards, something really good comes out? Are you going to go that 70?
I am going to actively pursue the community, this great community of ours, to bestow me the $10 coverage fee. No, seriously, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think I'll just have to wait. Peter's like, I'm not giving you anything. He got out of here quick. No, man, like it's tough, and you don't want to have to rely on the crutch of Game Pass. I know people are going to be like, well, I shouldn't have to rely on Game Pass, but the truth is, I'm leaning on Game Pass anyway, right now. It's only one game I think I've bought in recent times that I can think of that was first party, and that was Halo Infinite. I made sure to buy that because I love Halo. So, you know, and I think I bought Forza 4 last time. I didn't buy Forza 5 this time. Not that it's not worthy, but I was like, I just came to the realization, like, hey, I got these games coming day and date. What is the use? I'm always going to be a Game Pass subscriber, more than likely. What's the use of me paying this extra money, right, to buy this game? I'm going to finish with it and just going to just kind of sit there anyway. So let me just use Game Pass for all it's worth. I figured you would have, Cutie. I had a feeling. But yeah, you know, and that was my thing about it. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to lean heavily into Game Pass as I'm doing now. But then I think, in general, now that they've raised that price, though, because we knew it was coming at one point, we knew it would have to come at some point because eventually, who could hold off on charging that extra 10 like the industry is doing? But I'll say this: I blame fully the Sony fanboys, and I blame Sony 100% for this because they may not have been the first to do it, but Sony being the market leader led into everyone else adopting it, and that's the problem I have with it.
Are you going to say it how you said it last night?
Is it?
I want to hear how you said it.
Guaranteed.
I want to hear
a price rise.
I want to hear how you said it last night. Say
how did I say it last night? Hold on.
Fuck them Sony he's muted.
Who did it first?
I had to mute myself. Oh, see, well, we're monetized now. I can't, take away from the monetization. No, seriously. No, fuck those dudes. Fuck them for doing that. Honestly, I don't like that they did that. I don't like that. I mean, like I said, it's a part of business. It's going to happen. It's going to come. So it is what it is as far as to go. I can't complain over spilled milk, right? And it's not like any of our complaining about it to Microsoft is going to have them revert. And this is what I said on Boom's show. I said on the Xbox Factor this past week, is that once you knew that the ABK situation was getting situated, it was inevitable that they were going to go to 70 because Call of Duty is at 70. They're not going to revert Call of Duty to 60. It's making money hand over fist right now at 70. Why would they go backward? Mm-hmm. So it was pretty obvious at that point. And so and I think that's probably why me, you, and a few other people already lean toward them going to 70 first before they go to Game Pass goes up, is because ABK already set the standard. $70 games for Call of Duty. They're not going to go backward. And I had this discussion with Mav, and he was like, "Yeah, but they could just keep the other games at 60. Why would they do that?" Then people will say, "Well, why is that 70? Why is that one game 70 and these are 60?" It just causes too much it takes away from the uniformity. Instead, they're going to raise the price, get what they want, which is more greed. Let's be real. It is what it is. And get $10 more from people per sale. It's just common sense. But I don't like it, but I know what's coming.
It's common sense. I get that. But my argument was, and I get you leaving $10 on the table, but that goodwill you get from the community goes such a long way. And I just think that they've shot themselves in the foot here. I really think they could have positioned themselves as, the true gamers console.
I get you there, Pete. But let's be fair to Microsoft. They did stick around with that for a while. While everybody else was changing to 70, they were at one beacon of truth that stayed to 60. So they kind of did earn that. Yeah. So, they stayed as long as they could, I guess. So I give them some credit. But, corporate greed is going to take over at some point.
So now that these games are $70, you think we'll get less bugs and, all the crap that's been going on the last few years? No. There's my point. Why raise it $10 if you're going to have crappy games off rip like we have the last 5 years? It's kind of sad.
Well, to be fair, Microsoft has been giving us some good games. So I don't want to down their games, but
yeah, but I'm talking about gaming in general, just the whole all around, just
in general, yeah. No,
games have been so bad with bugs in the last few years. It's just kind of sad.
I agree, and that I made that argument too, and said, well, listen, if you're going to be charging this premium, then I expect your games to give me the full premium experience. It shouldn't be any case of me having all these crazy bugs, there's game breaking and all that type of stuff, or a lack of content and all these other things. I should get the full package like we used to do, right? So yeah, Nintendo absolutely, I agree.
Do it, can't they? Nintendo does it. I get they do their games a little bit differently. They don't really push through patches as much because it's on that cartridge, and I think that makes all the difference. I think a lot of this stuff has happened since we've had to download our games onto the console, so they feel like they can get away with it. But look, we've talked about this.
That's a good point right there.
We've talked about this before, Umbra. Microsoft haven't really showed us anything yet. We've basically just got Gears, Forza, Halo. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these new games and seeing if, we will get a fully fleshed out, fully completed game. I think they learnt a lot from Halo, and I just hope that they take that on board and move forward.
Yeah, look, that's exactly what I was going to say as well, guys, is that is the problem. And my thoughts on them going to 70s, I did say they would wait until they had dropped something that was worth 70, but they're just not doing that. and that's a bit of a shame to see. To see them, basically just give us nothing. What are we paying $70 for at the minute? We're literally paying for nothing. That's what's going on. Like, it's not cool. It's definitely not I don't support it. I don't want it. I understand it, but I don't understand the timing. The timing is absolutely terrible. Why would you, after a year of zero exclusives, a good showing of Starfield, but rough performance-wise, everything that's going on with the FTC, then decide there's got to be a reason behind this. And Hargeet, I'm going to go to you. There's got to be a reason behind this because you had some thoughts on this earlier in the week. Yep, I saw in one of the Discords. There's got to be something more to this than just hiding from the FTC or so. What do you think's behind this?
Look, all the things they've been doing recently, it's about the your regulatory agencies and optics. And one of the things that like all of them have said is you could raise prices. So they just want to say up front, hey, we're and one of the other things that happened, and this is just something that's very interesting to look at. Nobody expected Sony to be such a bitch. Okay, what they've done is so unorthodox, and it just caught Microsoft by surprise. Like they did not expect Sony to be this much of a trash company, and what they've been doing is is so weird that they're like, well, we have to change our strategy on doing everything. We cannot show anything we're doing. We cannot show that we're in some way good in the industry. And if we say something like Phil did, just offhand, hey, we're going to keep the prices the way they are, but we can't commit to that going forward all the time, right? And then Sony turned around and said, look, they're going to increase their console prices. It's like, no, that's not what I meant. So fine, I'll tell you what I was going to increase. It was going to be the game prices, right? And they just have to, unfortunately, they now are forced to put that out there because otherwise Sony gets to say they're going to increase their console prices. You can't say we did it alone. Like the entirety of what Sony has done is just so outrageous. But it's all because of them. This is all happening because of them. So that you're totally right, Riskit. There's zero reason to come up with this until you actually have a game to sell, right? You would do this when you're going to put out, say, Redfall is the next one that comes out. Mm-hmm. You would say, okay, that one's going to be 70. From now on, we're going to be... You would do it then, right? That makes much more sense because you have something to actually sell. They're doing this because of the freaking regulators. They're doing this because of Sony. And it's disappointing, but this is what it is. So everything that's happening is all because of Sony. And it's because Sony is acting like a little bitch. It just is what it is. I wish I could say that they're not, but they really are. They're acting like a little bitch.
Get some aloe vera gel for Sony.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It's very disappointing. But this is the way it is. So everything that's happening, all these steps, they did nothing in the TGAs. Is all because of Sony. It's all because of Sony. It's all because of the way they're acting. They're like, if we even show anything, Sony's going to turn around. See, they have 2 more games. Look at that. They're so powerful. I'm like, oh my God. These guys. They're like, and 2 seconds later, it's going to be the Sony exclusive, but that doesn't matter. That will not be looked at all. But they're literally going to run to every regulator. See what they have. See. Like, oh my God, these people are just, seriously. I've never seen tactics like this. It's ridiculous. It really is. Go for it, Umbra. Say it.
Oh, it's
this is ridiculous, man. They have all these exclusives.
So freaking hilarious.
We have all these exclusives, Coach. Why can't we have our own exclusives?
Stop.
Why, DoomCutie? What's the problem? I don't understand.
Yeah, look,
ridiculous.
It's absolutely nuts. But before we go any further, this is the first time we've had super chats, and I've literally accidentally cut and pasted the entire chat. I think it was 28 pages. So in the background, I've been deleting pages like a mad thing. And before this shit gets out of control, I'm just going to read them out because we're going to have to come up with a system for this. Anywho, look, so Hargeet Chani came in with the first super chat. Thank you very much, Hargeet. You're a champion. And he said, first super chat exclusive.
Oh, wow. That's a great question, bro. I loved it. Let's go to Hargeet to answer that question.
Shooter said, nice. You beauty, have a beer on me, guys. Thank you, Shooter. You're a champion. That was a $10 super chat. Drawn TJ with the $5 super chat said, hi, guys. Great content. the FTC fucked around and is about to find out. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. We're going to get into that later. Red Wolf said, first super chat, $10 super chat, said, first super chat ever. Congrats on your milestone, Bisky baby. It's the whole crew as well, man. So thank you to everyone. Red Wolf also put in a puke emoji at 99 cents. That just came in.
He said that's the official PlayStation emoji from now on, he says.
Yeah, he's drawn TJ with a $5 super chat, said ABK deal is definitely going to go through. The FTC doesn't have a case. Yeah, and they really slipped up hard and got slapped. We'll talk about that later in the show.
TJ as well, mate.
We're absolutely definitely getting to that. Drawn TJ with another $10 super chat. Drawn TJ, thank you so much, dude. He said they raised prices because it's better than Game Pass going up or the console price. Look, if you're upset about 70 first party, then just get Game Pass or wait for sale. Yeah, some people don't like Game Pass. Some people don't want to subscribe. But TJ and I'd still disagree. You've got to give Microsoft their flowers where they deserve it, and you've got to take them to task where they need it. And here, I think Pete's absolutely right. UAV fan, so
trying to turn me into Zorka.
yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to get someone to do this because it's a lot to do in the background as well as this. What's up, Colt
I have
Classic
the best
Cage?
reading voice. Throw it out there.
Well, get Umbra to do it as well. We'll take it in turns. But look, UVA fan, he put a question in. Guys, if you type question in front of your chat, I will read it out. Like, it will still highlight it to me. I'll pick it up and I'll read it out. Like, you don't have to super chat to interact with the panel. That's not how I want to roll things. So yeah, I like this to be extremely conversational. And I don't like locking things behind a paywall, Sony. What happens now that the FTC's base for the lawsuit is based on info that fell apart? Yep, we're going to get to that, UAV fan, 110%. And Grey Monad with a bit of a left fielder that we'll probably jump into now. Rand thinks that they could have a show in January. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. Pete, were we talking about this? Umbra, I don't know if I brought this up to you, but I think it's possible that they could be holding out for a show. And the other thing, we'll get into Game of the Year in a minute. We'll move on from this topic.
That's a rumor that's going around.
Yeah,
by the way, that's a rumor going around because I saw Paris. He was like one of the first people to bring that up.
Yeah.
So Paris might know something we don't know, but we'll get into it in a minute. What's up, Mav?
Yeah, I just want to get DoomCutie's thoughts on games going to $70, and then we'll jump on to the humongous amount of topics, quotes, press releases, and just like ridiculous amounts of information that we have going on this week. Cutie, what do you think about the $70 price rise?
I'm pretty selective with what games I actually buy outside of Game Pass, only because there's just so much to play, and I'm pretty time poor as someone who works full time. But I can see how, number one, Microsoft were definitely pressured to put their games up. Like even a person who doesn't really understand business can see that. So that's really crappy, and it really, really makes me feel less bad for my PS5 sitting on the floor. Yeah, just so you know. Anyway, I have to fix my desk.
Is it probably holding up the entire desk? It probably is. It's strong enough.
Yeah, it's really a footrest at this point. Anyway, everything's going up, inflation, all that stuff, that's fine. But, the timing of this with everything that's going on, it's really, 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 really does suggest that they were put under pressure, and it really sucks. I'm still going to buy the games that I want to buy, but obviously everyone wants to, get the best price, the best deal for their money.
Yep.
And hopefully, I don't know. Will this reduce congestion of game release? Do you think? Will this improve what we get in games?
Definitely not.
You would think so.
Definitely
but
not.
No.
I don't think those extra millions are going to get taken and put into the games. I think they're going to get put on the bottom of the balance sheet and under that profit heading.
Yeah. It sucks, but it's a business, and these days we see so much more than we normally would. Like, social media is such a powerful tool in that sense. So we're really lots of busybodies out here. We want to know, I want to know about this business deal and how it's going, how that's going to affect me as a consumer. Back in the day, we didn't care. now everyone knows everything. So
Yeah, absolutely, which is good. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. Moving on. Before I do move on, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you have joined us many times in the past, hit the like button. We appreciate every single one of you guys. You're all champions in the chat there. Moving on to the next topic. Wow, this is like a massively mixed topic. So guys, just jump in with whatever. But real basically, the FTC is taking Xbox to task. Xbox came out and said they welcome the challenge. They basically, now this is summarizing, they basically said we were happy to play nice and bring concessions to the table. In fact, they did propose concessions, but they're also happy to take their case to court, and they have extremely strong case. And the FTC already took their first blow this morning. Brad Smith tweeted out, "Our acquisition will bring Call of Duty to more gamers and more platforms than ever before. That's good for competition and good for consumers. Thank you, Nintendo. Any day Sony wants to sit down and talk, we'll be happy to hammer out a 10-year deal for PlayStation as well." They earlier in the week signed a 10-year deal with Nintendo for Call of Duty, removing that bargaining chip. Extremely clever move by Xbox to remove that from the conversation and then brings Nintendo into the conversation, which everyone was trying to remove them from the conversation. The FTC, the CMA were basically saying that Nintendo isn't really a part of the gaming industry in that way. In fact, the FTC went as far as to say that they don't count because it's basically a kid's console. They then produced a graphic showing the who the demographic of players that play on the Switch. The largest demographic was from 20 to 40 years old. I was like, why would you release the graphic to support your opinion that completely shows that you're in the wrong? Like, that's absolute nuts. So it's great to see Xbox making these moves, and we all thought earlier in the week that was it. So Lita Khan, if you don't know, she's expecting a baby in January, and she was going to take a short parental leave. So if you're unsure as to why this deal moved forward or why these events moved forward as quickly as they did, that is part of the reason. She wanted to make this basically happen as quickly as possible. And we thought it was going to be suing for peace, not suing Microsoft. Bobby Kotick also released a memo, and whilst we don't really support Bobby Kotick's views, we do support this one. He said the assertion that the deal is anti-competitive doesn't match with the facts. Simply put, a combined Microsoft ABK would be good for players, good for employees, good for competition, and good for the industry. Our players want choice, and this gives them exactly that. So look, I'm going to go to the panel, and we're going to talk about this as a whole. But before I do, the FTC, they did release a press release. This is exactly what they said, so we know what we're talking about. Microsoft has already shown that it can and will withhold content from its gaming rivals. When they say that, they refer to Bethesda. Today, we seek to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio and using it to harm competition in multiple dynamic and fast-growing markets. I won't read the entire press release, but that's basically they referenced Bethesda, and in some of their filings, they referenced the fact that when speaking to the EU about the Bethesda deal earlier in the year, that Microsoft promised the EU that they would keep those games as third party and on other platforms. That didn't happen. The EU then came out and responded to those filings and said, no, that never happened. Which is basically one of the legs of the case the FTC is standing on. And that's just been chopped out from underneath them. And this hasn't even begun yet. And they're already bleeding pretty hard. So listen, I'm going to go to the panel on this one. There's just a lot here to unpack. Hargeet, I am going to go to you because I know that you're all across the FTC. And I will say this, Hargeet predicted this. Literally,
Yep.
I think it was Man, it's got to be months ago, dude. You said this.
July?
Yeah.
Something like that?
In July,
August,
and I was,
Yeah.
I think
I was
all
in
of
August,
us,
but
all of
around
us
then.
I
were
remember
like,
you
Yeah.
telling me this, Hargeet. I remember
Yeah.
you telling me this.
all of us were
Yeah.
like, nah, man, nah, definitely, they're not
Yeah,
going to go
I
to
was gonna
court.
say.
It's not going to happen. And Hargeet was like, I think this is going to court. So Hargeet,
Yep.
what are your thoughts now?
I mean, not surprising to me, right? I disappointed. I'm still disappointed. I was really hoping that like one of the one of the voting commissioners or whatever the people there was actually going to flip over and say, oh, no, I think it's okay, right? We were hearing rumors about that, but that did not happen. So it went ahead and went to blocking. Yeah, so reading through their document, I'm a lot of this is very much the standard Sony stuff. It reads like somebody in the 4th grade. No, I'm sorry, that insults a 4th grader. Wrote it, but it's pretty bad. And like they list AAA games as being a big thing, and then there's 4 big AAA developers plus Epic, and I'm like, did they entirely skip Japan? They didn't even list one Japanese publisher. Like the game of the year, Elden Ring, was published by Bandai Namco. You didn't even list them at all as a AAA publisher. The whole thing it just stinks as far as what they've written. Yes, that part from the EC for them saying that Microsoft said that they would bring games to all platforms or whatever and not take them as exclusives. Yeah, that is just funny, right? That one regulator is telling the other, yeah, no, you lied. That did not happen. The other part of it is they're going to take content and make it competitive against their competitor. How is that bad? In what world should a competitor not try to take market share from another competitor? That's the
Crazy,
point
huh?
of competition. Like literally the point. They're the absolute losers in the freaking industry, and they're trying to say, no, we want to gain market share against Nintendo and PlayStation, and we're doing this by investing. And that's what you do. You invest and you create a market for your product versus your competitors. This entire everything they wrote in there was so ridiculously stupid that I can't even imagine a judge reading it and saying, "What are you talking? I'm done. Bye. Go away, FTC. What were you thinking?" Right? Like the whole thing, like it's a monopoly to compete against your competitor.
Right.
And okay, if they've decided that Nintendo does not count, which they've said that, and the only competitors here are Xbox and PlayStation, well, guess what, FTC? You've now defined that PlayStation is a bloody monopoly.
Exactly.
They're a monopoly.
Exactly.
So you've made the claim already, and guess what your job is? Your job is to thwart monopolies. Your job is now to go against PlayStation and go fix it. Go figure out what you're going to do to make PlayStation not a monopoly. Well, guess what? You have a competitor at your doorstep saying, I can try to do that for you. But you seem to want to push away from that. The whole thing is just so nuts.
Yeah, this is
on
all
top of that, they're saying we will put it on there. We don't care. We will put Call of Duty on there, even though it's a freaking game, and who cares? They can just shut
exactly
it down.
that. And I'm glad you brought that.
The end of the world.
I'm glad you brought that up because
whatever.
Phil Spencer earlier in the week made some statements about this, and it's like you don't normally hear Phil throw shade. He's Mr. Nice Guy in public, right? But he said, we've made the statements to Sony that we will continue to ship Call of Duty on PlayStation. We've tried to make a 10-year deal commitment. Same version, same features. We've said the same thing to regulators. I haven't really heard a customer opposition of how a consumer who's going to get more choice through this acquisition of what the harm is. But the hard harm to the largest console maker seems to be where the regulators are spending a lot of time. And I mean, they're really twice as big as we are in the console market. So I find it challenging because the largest console maker in the world is raising an objection about one franchise that we've said we will continue to ship on platform, and it's a deal that benefits customers through choice and access to Call of Duty is an important part of it. Like you said, Call of Duty Mobile is part of the Call of Duty franchise itself. How to decouple that from what happens on other platforms seems really, really challenging. When PlayStation players are getting the same great Call of Duty experience they've had this year, they would get the same thing next year and the year forward if the deal closes. That's just unbelievable
It's
facts.
perfect.
Yeah, exactly what he said. Like,
and the Nintendo thing is just brilliant, right? Because it takes away, if the regulators really are about competition in the market, well, you've got it. You already got it. You've got a deal now with a major competitor. Nintendo has Call of Duty. If Sony wants it, they can have it. If Sony doesn't want it, they don't have to have it, because it doesn't matter. Players can choose whatever platform they want. It's content they can choose to go anywhere they like. If I want something that's Netflix specific, guess what? I can go subscribe to Netflix. If I want something from Warner, I can get HBO Max. It's up to me, right? As a consumer, do I want it or not, right?
Choice.
If PlayStation does not want to play ball, too bad for them. Competition is available. They put it on Steam, which is a competitor to their store on Windows, and they put it on Nintendo, which is a competitor to their console. It's done. They have competition. They've allowed it. It's done. Now it's up to Sony. But we'll have to see if regulators are really protecting the monopoly, or they're really trying to say we want competition. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
yeah, I think this is political positioning. Jedi, do you think that this is just the FTC taking a stance? And listen, before we get into this is a political topic. And so we're probably going to get a little bit political here, but I am going to rein it in if it gets a little bit too much. I'm just going to say. But it's absolutely political, and that's the reasoning for why this is happening. So, Pete, what are your thoughts on Lena Khan's going straight to blocking? And the reasons that she cited. She cited the fact that they lied to the EU, where that's a completely non-factual statement. The EU came out and said they did not lie to us. They were straight
and
up.
The fact that they didn't even bother to call them, they could have just checked.
Yeah,
it's like they talk to each other. Regulatory agencies talk to each other.
It shows due diligence, a complete lack of due diligence. Like, it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Jedi?
Yeah, look, I think the lack of due diligence is because the decision was made regardless of what was going to be said. I think this is incredibly politically motivated. I think that you have to look at Lena Khan's history, how she got the job as the youngest chair of the FTC, because she specifically said she was going to be going over after these large tech companies. The problem is this isn't a monopoly. Everything that she stated is just completely factually wrong. I think you made a really good point yesterday with your tweet that they're going to be using taxpayer dollars to fight a corporation which is just purely political. And that's disgusting. They're using American taxpayer dollars to go after something because, they're politically motivated to do so. I think that is incredibly sad. It really, really is. I can't see how this harms competition. Harms the consumer. It is purely and simply about competition. And when you've got Activision, Bobby Kotick saying that it would be making zero business sense to take Call of Duty away from PlayStation, when you've got Microsoft saying that they're going to give Steam and Nintendo and anyone else that wants a deal, a 10-year deal with, it's going to be exactly the same on their platforms that it is going to be on Microsoft. When you've got the trade unions and the employees saying that there's nothing wrong with this deal, and there's something completely wrong with how the decision was made. Every time I read what the FTC writes, it just screams that they know absolutely nothing about this industry. And I was really, really hoping that once it got into the second phase and they got more business-minded people in to actually look at the deal, that the deal would then go forward and then go ahead, because it just seemed that they were spouting Sony nonsense from the start. It doesn't look like that's the case. Hargeet, you were absolutely correct, right on the money 6 months ago when you said that this is most likely going to go to court. My worry now is that the FTC want to hold the court system in their own purview, so they're going to have their own judge sit and listen, and that, if we look at what's happened so far, is going to be even more politically motivated, because they're going to have a judge that they want to have, and therefore Microsoft are going to need to fight that. And we could not see this deal go through for years, literal years. It's just going to be, and then how long are Microsoft and Activision willing to wait and for this deal to go through, and how much money are they willing to spend in court? We all know that there's a $3 billion breakup clause, but will it cost them longer to fight it if it then goes to court at the FTC, and then they have to then fight it in a different court? Like, how much money is that going to cost?
That's an interesting point, by the way, Pete. That's an interesting point just to say on that.
Waiting in the background. Just
to add to it, I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to add to that. When you pointed out how long would they be willing to wait, because of the FTC doing what they're doing, they're trying to extend it to where they actually go to actually talk in August. That will be after their agreed upon time in June, where they would actually get this merger done. So at that point, they could absolutely pull away. You're right. Just to add that.
I'm finished. You go ahead, mate.
Do you want me to add another little interesting tidbit?
Sure, add it.
There is a current pending Supreme Court case seeing if you can sue the FTC and the SEC. And if that passes, then Microsoft could seek an immediate lawsuit against the FTC's decision in a federal court. Because the federal court is going to be impartial, right? And they're going to say this based on its merits. And if they can sue the FTC, it bypasses their process. Because ultimately, they can go through it. It's just time, right? So if they go through the process, it's going to go through an administrative judge. The administrative judge can say yes or no, and then it'll go to an appellate court, then it'll go to Supreme Court, right? But all that is just time, right? And if that Supreme Court decision comes out and it says, yes, you can sue, Microsoft's going to sue immediately, bring it to the court, and the FTC has to make their case. So that could shorten the timeline. It's still going to take a long time, but it is an interesting thing that just happened to happen right around the same time.
So,
right, because these kind of
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Hargeet, before we move forward, and just for the guys in the chat, if you don't know, normally what happens here is the FTC will take this to an internal administrative judge. That's what they're gonna do, and that's going to be someone that they that you would see is on their side, but in my view. The FTC will be the complainant, obviously, and they'll have a trial-like proceeding. It's not actually a trial. It's what you would call a traditional court proceeding. And then after the decision is made, then the FTC can choose to appeal that. But what you're saying is Microsoft can bypass this. That proceeding and move straight to a proper
federal trial, exactly. Assuming it passes. Right? So I don't know if it happens.
How long the federal court's going to wait for? I mean, 2, 3 years?
It's not up to the federal. So the federal courts will work with. So both parties here, the FTC and Microsoft, and I guess the third party is Activision, would have to set a timeline as to when they would be ready, right? And it has to be fair for all of them. So that will be the part that extends it out, right? So if it takes the FTC 6 months. It depends on what happens. Like, so the assumption that the administrative judge would just side with the FTC, well, they haven't. Lately, when Lena has been doing these weird things, they actually have been pushed back. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'd say it's like a good 50% chance that the administrative judge says you don't have standing here. So, and they toss it out. Now, since it's within the FTC, that judge can actually ask for concessions, and Lena Khan, for some reason, does not want to do concessions. And so if the judge says, okay, you're willing to do these things, okay, just sign off on these 3 or 4 concessions, the deal could be done, right? At that point, it's done, right? So Lena's out of it. At that point, the judge decides what happens and it's done, right? That could be the outcome, and that could be within a few months, right? Mm-hmm. But if that judge decides, yeah, no, this is it on its merits, it actually is valid, then it would have to go to appellate. Otherwise, in the interim, if that Supreme Court decision happens, Microsoft could just sue and say, no, we don't want the administrative judge. We want to go directly to a federal court.
Right? This is my biggest thing with the situation. Like, I mean, clearly they didn't do their homework. I mean, it's common sense they didn't do their homework. We know they didn't do it. But like I always say, I think I sent this in the chat, one of our chats. I've said it for months now. I still think that all these people have to have some type of money or stock or something to be complaining this much about PlayStation and more Sony. They have to have something involved in these.
It's not that.
Why are they making? Yeah, I get that.
Mentioning.
I get that.
She specifically has a vendetta against big tech, and she sees Microsoft as the bigger player. She's not wrong. Microsoft has more money.
We know they're $1 trillion company. We know they got money. We know that. But it's like this deal I just don't understand how you can go through this and then not do your homework and then still push it through. There's got to be somewhere like some legal point of like
said it, right?
She's
she
pushing
basically
back against big tech. Yeah, she's
exactly.
pushing back.
So she's just
and that's
crying
all
about it. She's just
problem
crying about it. Is pretty much what it sounds
Microsoft
like.
as a whole is very, very different to Xbox. So Xbox is a player in the game, no doubt about it. But it is nowhere near has a monopoly. It is nowhere near a monopoly.
Yeah, look at Disney. Look at Disney. Look at Disney and all these other companies that just keep buying more stuff. Now, no hate to Disney because I love mostly Disney stuff. But the point is, why don't it just makes no sense to me. She's just crying to me, it sounds like.
She's late to the party.
Just to point out, by the way, with Disney, that was under a different administration, to be fair.
Yeah.
So part of this is, that's why a lot of this is politics.
And there were concessions with that one. So.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's true.
Concessions makes it a little bit different.
Was it Sky Sports or something like that, right?
Yeah, but she very much believes that that deal shouldn't have gone through with Disney. So she's late to the party.
Yeah.
And the way I've been seeing this, and I'm not massive on American politics. I'm not massive on any of that sort of stuff. But the way I'm seeing this is grandstanding to basically prove that.
And it's her specifically, Riskit. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's Democrat versus Republican. I think a normal Democrat panel would still have passed the deal with concessions. It's just her. She specifically
just to point out though, Hargeet, Elizabeth Warren convinced her to do it. Just to point out, because Elizabeth Warren came out recently, and it was said that she convinced her to do it. And remember, Elizabeth Warren came out some time back saying that she wanted to actually try to stop it.
Yeah, and that was based on the employee thing, right? With the union, who, by the way, came out and condemned the decision.
Exactly. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah,
killed their point right there when they got that when the unions coming in. Now it's like, oh well, we still got to stop you for what?
So wait, Elizabeth Warren actually told Lena to sue.
Yep.
Because that's very interesting to me. Because I can go talk to her. She happens to be my state senator.
Get it, Hargeet.
I can go talk to her.
Hey, so we had a question from Toolman, which fits into what we were talking about here, and he says, question: how has Sony been able to purchase House Marquee, Bluepoint, Nix's, Bungie, etc., with no issues?
Yeah.
While Microsoft
it's a very
is
fair
facing
point. It's a very fair point, and it's because the government really does not care about gaming. Right? They could care less about gaming, because if they did, they would analyze this and say, hey, Sony, you have way too much market power and we need to regulate you, right? Or we need consumer protections. If you're going to sell a game for $70 and it's going to be gimped because Sony put the content on their side only, well, then you should be notified about that, right? It should be a big ass label on that box, or when you're buying it digitally that, hey, warning, you're not going to get the full game because somebody else locked content, right? These things should happen.
I get this is very political, but how is the FTC chair decided upon? So, if the Republicans won the Senate,
they're nominated. They're nominated by the president. And also, we'll add this: that Biden came out and backed this decision. As it's great to see. But what bothers
Bernie Sanders too? Don't forget him.
They're currently going after big tech.
And what bothers me about this is they're not looking at the merits of the deal. They're just looking at and this is the thing that's the problem, I think, with this whole thing with Lena Khan, is they're looking at, hey, she's doing something. I really don't think that Bernie Sanders, Biden, or that other senator that your favorite state senator, has looked at the merits of the deal and gone, is Lena Khan making a good decision here? Is this going to cost my constituents more money that they don't need to pay because it's got to hit the courts and it really has no merit? Literally every argument that they've brought forward has no merit and has been destroyed. And it was an absolute masterstroke for Xbox to come in to Nintendo and then to say to them, hey, look, we've got a 10-year deal for you for COD. Absolute masterstroke. Moved it from the conversation and it brought Nintendo into the conversation. They didn't just offer Nintendo a 10-year deal, though. They offered Steam a 10-year deal, Valve. Now, I forget his name and I haven't got it written down here, but what I have got written... Gabe Newell, that's right. Gabe said this about the offer of the 10-year deal, and I love this. Fucking love this. So we're happy that Microsoft wants to continue using Steam to reach customers with Call of Duty when their Activision acquisition closes. just before I go on, don't forget that this is the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that's come to Steam in a while. They've missed a few, right? So it hasn't always been on Steam. Microsoft has been on Steam for a long time, and we take it as a signal that they are happy with gamers' reception to that and the work we are doing. Our job is to keep building valuable features for not only Microsoft, but all Steam customers and partners. Microsoft offered and even sent us a draft agreement for a long-term Call of Duty commitment, but it wasn't necessary for us because, A, we are not believers in requiring any partner to have an agreement that locks them into shipping games on Steam into the distant future. 10 years is a fucking long tech time. Like in tech, that is like a lifetime. B, Phil and the games team at Microsoft have always followed through on what they told us they would do, so we trust their intentions. And C, we think Microsoft has all the motivation they need to be on all the platforms and devices where Call of Duty customers want to be. One hell of a sum up. And after that happened, this is what the FTC does. It's unfucking believable. MacBound. Look, I just want to go to you and get some thoughts, and then I'll probably jump to Umbra and GOTY just to kind of round out the conversation. And don't get me wrong, this conversation is probably not going to end anytime soon because it's one that we're all passionate about. Were you surprised when the FTC took Microsoft to task?
Yeah, look what Steam said. They literally clearly said that this deal is meaningless. This 10-year deal is meaningless. And then for the FTC to still say that this is still a monopoly, that these guys are still trying to be the highest they can be. We understand they're $1 trillion company. We just said it, but for the FTC to bring this up, and after even they announced these 2 10-year deals, Steam declined, unfortunately. It just baffles, man. It's just the most baffling thing you can see. And this is the problem with the FTC. They need to be just gone. There's no reason for this company, or whatever you want to call it, politic company. They just don't need to be involved in situations like this. And they don't go after people that need to be go after. They don't need they're saying exclusive this, exclusive that, but look at what Sony's doing. There's literally paying people for years and years of exclusivity. But yet we get one company, Bethesda. Let's just put Bethesda, and they're saying we can't have Elder Scrolls only on Xbox. Well, look at the last 20 years of games on Bethesda that Elder Scrolls have been on Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Why have they not said nothing about those games? I don't know. I do not like the FTC. I've lived in this country for my whole life, and politics are the most corrupt thing. They're only for themselves, and that's it. They're not for the people, and they'll never be for the people. No matter what party you're in, no matter what side you're on, they're not for us. They're for themselves, and they will take your money, and that is it. And they do not care about, if they're not making money, they will go after you. It's just like anything. And that's the big problem with the FTC. And
just to add to what you said there, Mac, it's the fact of the obfuscation. That's the biggest issue with Sony. So obfuscation is them money heading all these different games that we don't get for generations. And people think that's innocent. It's nothing. It adds up over time, because after a while, it informs the public that, well, you're not going to get this on that platform. And what do people think about Xbox? So many times it happened, they thought of it as the shooter box, right?
Yeah.
So it helped to create that mindset with gamers so that they would only think to go to PlayStation to get JRPGs, RPGs, everything else. And you can only get shooters really predominantly on Xbox.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. Now, some of it's Microsoft's fault too, in some ways, right?
The earlier days, yes.
Exactly.
Promoted it as the dude bro shooter box.
They did.
Yeah.
So some of it is their fault, but a lot of the obfuscation with Sony money heading and strategically money heading, because now Square Enix is basically a de facto first party studio, and they're not even acquired. And you got 2 years of Forspoken, which they can keep, but I'm just saying that
I don't need that in 2 years, man. They can keep it forever.
Right.
What about Final Fantasy VII? There we go.
Final Fantasy VII, exactly.
Listen,
remake or 16.
I literally had a conversation with somebody the other day that we were talking. I bought Final Fantasy VII on my PlayStation, right? I literally played it for an hour. Game looks amazing, but I just don't want to play it on it. I want to play it on my Xbox. I want my achievements on my Xbox. I don't want to play it on PlayStation. I said, well, I'll just wait the year because it was supposed to only be a year, and then now all of a sudden we're 2.5 years going into it or whatever it is, and I still don't
know what's going on with it.
Okay, we got Crisis Core. I'm not gonna say I give it credit. But at this point, do I support that company? Should I buy a $50-$60 game, whatever it costs? Because I'm sure it costs, who knows,
$70.
Should I? Okay, $70. Should I pay $70 and give it to a company that screwed me over? I had the same situation with Capcom with this Mega Man game. I think me and Peter had this conversation the other day with Hargeet, and I'm mad about it because why should I support a company that's holding games off my console when you're a AAA, a third party company? You're not mainly exclusive to one console, but yet you got half your games on this console and you're locking us out of that stuff. Now I have both systems. It's not that I don't want to do it, but I want to play it for the achievements on my Xbox. Give me my third parties on my Xbox. That's where I want to play my third parties.
And just to say to move us back to where we were on the actual subject, just to say 2 things about it. One, I agree with you on that. But it's come back to bite Square because they've been losing money left and right because of their decisions. That's one. So good karma is affecting them. But 2, the FTC, the way it's set up, does not go into looking into things that harm competition in that direction, and that's the problem. And these politicians, like you said, and like Hargeet pointed out, and Pete pointed out, they don't know anything about gaming. They don't know a thing. The only thing they're looking for is to make a name for themselves. And like you said, the money. And you got one of the biggest companies in the world, multi-trillion-dollar company. Of course, it looks good to go after Microsoft. So that's the only thing they're aiming for. But I'm so glad that they're getting egg in their face. Yeah, I'm glad they're getting egg in their face with the EU coming out. Yeah.
Why is the president of the United States, the Senator Elizabeth Warren, even Bernie Sanders, the Senator of the United States, even commenting on a gaming acquisition? It's because the name Microsoft is there, and that is it. They don't understand anything about the industry. They don't actually understand that this is actually going to be good for consumers. And I just hope that the court holds them to task.
Yep.
I think they will. They don't have a strong case, and literally, this is I hate saying literally because it annoys me when the kids do it, but literally every single thing that the FTC, the CMA, the EU, and PlayStation have brought to bear as an argument against the deal has been slapped down, placated, or offered. Like they've been offered these concessions. This is the problem that I have. Brad Smith headed over there on the weekend. We know he jumped on a train, headed down to Washington, and was negotiating this deal before it ended up with the FTC filing against it. He went down there to offer concessions. And I am certain that one of those concessions was to put Call of Duty on third party, as a third party game. Sorry, not to make it exclusive. Basically, on other consoles, that would have been in a concession. I would bet that there were other concessions that would have been attractive that the FTC could have had. But now, what the FTC finds itself in a position where their argument's been slashed already. They've already lost one of their legs. And the thing is that I think that you need to understand, I don't think that Microsoft is going to come into this court case. I don't think they're going to be looking to offer concessions anymore. I really don't think that's
I hope not.
Yeah, that's not. And look, I know a lot of people are pissed about this, but as I said to Umbra last night, so I'm kind of happy about it. This means that Microsoft will not have, as long as these courts are fair, true, and just, Microsoft will not have to offer the concessions that they would have had to offer to get the FTC to be placated so they could push this deal through. Cutie, right. I'm going to jump over to you and just ask you, were you surprised when the FTC filed against the deal? Well,
yes.
And
I think she's not there.
No, I am here. I'm here. I just lost screen with you. No, look. When Hargeet said that, I was like, oh, probably maybe like that. It seems just they're just waiting. They're just waiting for something to trip Microsoft up all the time. And you're right. All these lawyers just want to make a name for themselves, but unfortunately, they're going to make themselves known as the people that lost Microsoft. And of course, they're going to lose. Honestly, it's honestly ludicrous.
Yeah, it
This
is.
This whole
It-
thing.
it
you guys,
is, and
you guys know more about this business stuff than I do, but I can see from the outside already. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
they don't have any argument. And look, I want to continue this conversation, but before I do, I've had a few questions, a few super chats in the chat, and you guys are absolutely amazing. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you're not, hit the like button. It really helps out the show. And I'll just get to these super chats real quick and some of the questions that got asked because they are in reference to what's going on here. I heard Ricardo Cardoso of the EU Commission was the FTC's source. He wanted to ensure COD was available on his PlayStation. If you don't know who that is, that's the guy who tweeted out earlier in the month saying we're going to make sure that COD stays on my PlayStation. Bonds
Blatant bias.
Well, how much that cost?
Yeah. Bonds Pop. The super chat is because you reached 1K subs. Congrats, Riskit. Thank you very much, Bonds Pop. You're an absolute champion. We appreciate every single one of you just being here. You guys have really made the show what it is today. Doovy with $5 super chat said they mentioned unreleased games and skipped over 2 PS exclusives that Microsoft allowed with Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. That's right. They honored their deal and they did not mention that, and they haven't mentioned it the entire time. They also stated earlier in the month again that all Bethesda games went exclusive when that's just blatantly not true. There are 2 Bethesda games there, and they've obviously honored their back catalog. Master Clown dropped $40 as a super chat. Didn't say anything, but Master Clown, you've been with us for a long minute, and we really appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming along to the show and supporting us every week. Drawn TJ again with another $5 super chat. You guys are all awesome. Everyone in the chat, please hit the like, and at least it's free.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. You guys can ask a question as well, like the RSJ fan asked. And she said, or he said, will this make the process go even longer? Yes, I think that's what's happening, but Microsoft can take steps, as Hargeet was saying, to shorten up the process. I didn't think that was a possibility. And at the end of the day, with this process being longer, this means that PlayStation has won, whether the deal goes through or not. This has bought PlayStation the time they needed to get those gas games out the door. That's what I think this has been about from PlayStation. They
got some time for that, though, Riz, to be fair. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
Oh,
and just to add,
at 4 to 5 years. You got 4 to 5 years, right?
Yeah,
that gives them that buys them a lot of time.
But this will be wrapped up well before that. But my whole thing is, to answer that, they can absolutely wrap it up faster. And I was watching Hogue Law and he talked on it. They can offer concessions if that was to be the case and say, hey, what do we need to do here to get this done faster? So they can actually wrap it up well before they get to the situation in August, because they're meeting with the FTC soon. So they can actually offer up some concession and say, hey, we don't want this to go further. What can we do to wrap this up now? And they can change it and end it right now. It depends on them and what they're offering and what they're willing to accept as far as what they'll give up.
Yeah, if I was Microsoft, I wouldn't offer them shit because I would know that I've got a strong case. And I would just be, I'd be pushing that on the FTC at every opportunity. Hey, man, you are not going to win this. You are going to look bad. This is going to be bad for you.
Risk it. At some point, it's about time. And so if the concessions are reasonable enough, they'll just take it because they want to get this thing done.
Yeah, right? But what would they accept though? What would they accept to like make it go quicker? Well,
we don't know what they might ask, but I did see them say something ridiculous like going to Bethesda, which we now of course know that the EU just came out and corrected them on, and they would try to use that. And well, what about Elder Scrolls and Redfall and Starfield and all that nonsense?
That should not be on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they ask for that,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever they want.
If they ask me that, I would tell them to kiss my ass.
Put it all the mobile games on PlayStation. That's all we're giving them. That's all all the King games.
You get Candy Crush.
All the King games can go right onto PlayStation. Right. That's the only thing we're accepting.
You get your Candy Crush and you like it.
That's it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
It's all about Game Pass, so they're going to look for something there, and that if it's reasonable enough. Let's say you can't put the next 2 Call of Duty games in Game Pass, fine, whatever, and then move on and just get it done, and then the next one will go in Game Pass.
But would they accept? Would they accept Call of Duty never going to Game Pass? And here's the other one. Here's the other one, right? The other one is would they accept Call of Duty going to PS Plus That just basically,
Hell no.
yeah, that basically
for
tanks the
$50
studio.
for $50 billion. We want most of the money back.
$50 billion, but it would have to be a reasonable amount of money because they make a lot of money on PlayStation.
They
right?
sure do.
So what are they? What is it? They said over $1 billion per quarter or something like that. I was reading something. There was like a whole bunch,
something insane.
so-
Yeah.
like $1 billion for just Call of Duty,
that.
for just Call of Duty alone. Like, yeah, they got to give some type of money in return. You know, there's no way they could just, and they're also going to make money from putting it on
Microtransactions
PlayStation
and such.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Activision made $1.7 billion on PlayStation, around that, in 2021. So whatever that comes out to, that's for the entire year. So, and a lot of that is going to be, I know there's like Crash Bandicoot and a couple of games like that, but really the vast majority is going to be Call of Duty, right? So if they're going to take away that revenue stream, then yeah, that's going to have to be a pretty big, it's going to be like 500-700 million. It's going to have to be pretty big.
Yeah, there's going to need to be some sort of monetary. Absolutely, completely agree with that. But I'm going to move on with these super chats. Drew and TJ with another $5 super chat. They have failed 3 times on suing deals the judge threw out. Most likely it's going to get thrown out. Yeah, absolutely. But however, Lita Khan did state she doesn't care about losing, which is absolutely ridiculous. She's basically saying in that there's a lot that comment in covers. And one of those things is what it costs to take a deal to court. And it's not a small amount of money. She's basically saying when she says that, she doesn't give a shit about taxpayers' money, which is absolutely disgusting. And it really bothers me that, I mean, it's not my country, but it bothers me that politicians would then come out and throw their weight behind that with congratulations. Yeah. And it's just insanity to me what's happening at the minute. Drawn TJ with another.
Ultimately, Riskit, that actually hurts you guys too, because that money is coming from you guys paying Microsoft. And so, because Microsoft has to pay for this, right? So that is taking away from something they could have done for you guys. Instead, it's going to go to these lawsuits.
Yeah, that's true.
It does actually hurt you as well.
It's not
and
only
it's doubly so for us here in America since they're taxing us for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're getting it from both ends, while we're just getting it from one. But we're still getting it. That's a good point, Hargeet. Really good point. And
they're giving us the old Pornhub special over here. What's going on?
Not to mention, if you think about this from another perspective, is that Cutie comes in. Not to mention, with from another perspective, this holds up any other potential deals that Microsoft may have on the back burner or might have wanted to make. So these are other games that we might not get to Xbox, other studios that they might have picked up. You look at IO, we look at Avalanche. These are studios that we thought that Microsoft were looking at for acquisition. Now we're not going to know until this deal goes through, and it's just been lengthened thanks to the FTC. Bunch of wankers. Draw TJ, another $5 super chat, says, I find it hilarious because Microsoft donates so much money for Democrats compared to the Republicans, and the FTC stepped in shit. They certainly did. I wonder how that will change Microsoft's view. And UVA fan 001 asked the question and said, what I'm trying to figure out here is why would the FTC go after the monopoly argument and not the Game Pass in a burgeoning market route? And that is the stronger argument. I've said this before, and Umbra, I'll go to you because I know you had some thoughts on this. That's the stronger argument for the FTC to have made, because it is a burgeoning market. And also cloud is another one that they could have really gone after. And they have not. They have gone after what PlayStation has directed them to go after, seemingly ignoring the Game Pass route. So, Umbra, what were your thoughts on...
You know what's interesting? And that just goes to the point we were making, Risk, that they don't know shit. Excuse me, my language, y'all, but they don't know what's going on when it comes to this. They're just hearing people out and saying, well, they have this, they have that. And the only thing they're trying to do is compile anything they can to put Microsoft at fault in some factor. And they didn't go after this because nobody really understands it, and that market is not big enough. And I only know this because I was listening to people like Hogue Law, who explained it in detail, to say that the reason why they didn't quite go after this is because it's a burgeoning, like you said, market, and it's not as big yet to quite nail it down on them. They don't have a monopoly in that space just yet. Microsoft is getting there. So that's the reason why they didn't attack it in that way. And so instead, the smart play for them was to go after the big time publishers that they're swallowing. That's what they thought process was. And I guess it's backfiring on them, because the smarter play probably would have been to go after Game Pass and how it's kind of cornering the market in that way. But I don't think it's Game Pass has in its way is big enough yet to quite justify it either. That's according to Hogue Law and other people I've heard speak on it.
Yeah, Pete, do you think that that if the FTC had gone after that, I think the smarter argument, one that really could have been made, went after Game Pass. Do you think that the return fire from Microsoft would have been, hey, look at PS Now or PS Plus and the combination of their subscribers?
Yeah, I think that, and also EA Play and Ubisoft Direct, or whatever it's called. And I think Nvidia has one as well. So I do think it's a smarter argument to make. I really do. I believe you've got to talk about a monopoly there. It's definitely a possibility for a monopoly there, and we've seen that the FTC does. They shouldn't, but they look at what possibly could become a monopoly in the future. I think they did that with the Facebook deal with somebody, the Facebook Giphy deal. They thought that it could possibly become a competitor in the future, and that's the reason why they blocked that deal, which is incredibly stupid, and there's zero logic to that. But yeah, I really do believe that was the better argument. It seems to me that the FTC is just spouting whatever Sony's telling them. I mean, we've seen that from the write-up that Sony wrote. It looks basically exactly the same as the write-up the FTC made.
Yeah,
all for show.
Yeah, it's really odd that all of these the espousing that's coming from the FTC is from PlayStation. MacBound. Do you find that weird that they would adopt the market leader's view on an acquisition?
It's weird, man. I don't understand how they could just do that. And it's like almost like they're brainwashed by Sony or something like that. Like they're like walking around like Sony's got to be this wicked witch of the West that's got these guys trained in all these politics around the world, and they're just, oh, if this isn't what we like, you have to do it this way, so we could stay above and beyond everybody. It's just, it has to be. There's something I don't get it. I just don't get why this is going on like that. I just
you almost have it, Mac. It's really just the opposite. They're so brainwashed to hate big tech. That's it. And Sony doesn't seem like big tech to them, even though they are.
It is. It's what is it? I mean, it's got to be ranked up there in the top 10 of tech.
It's a multi-$100 billion company.
Yeah,
it is big. It's big.
Yeah. So why aren't they going after them? Like, why aren't they also saying, well, hold up, why do you guys have God of War as exclusive? You're making everybody else look stupid with this, or let's even use Spider-Man for example. Everybody had Spider-Man games prior to that, so it's the same thing. It's I don't know. This confusing. It's dumb. It's above all of us, and we'll never know what these dummies do up there and take our money. That's it. They're just going to take more of our money from everywhere, like Umbra said, and it's going to be from everywhere. Hargeet said they're going to take money from anybody they can, and that's what it's going to be and then that's all they're trying to do, because they don't want them to be richer. They want the politics to be richer, and that's sad.
Yeah, well, they just want their votes in, but I mean, this looks bad. If I was a constituent, I wouldn't be happy. Hargeet, I just wanted to kind of go back and just get some final thoughts on why you think it is the FTC aren't going after the Game Pass in a burgeoning market, which was put in a fantastic way. There's a great question by UAV. Why aren't they going after that as an argument? That's a winnable argument. As Pete said, they probably shouldn't look too far into the future, but at some point you do, as the FTC, you should look into the future and say, hey, like 5 years down the line, is this going to create an unbreakable monopoly that we can't break, we can't slip into? It's something they do have to do, so I understand that. But Game Pass seems to be that argument. Why have they not used it as ammo?
Well, I mean, they do list it in there, so they do have that listed there, but they are kind of basically going after Call of Duty more so than anything else. And I think it's basically primarily because of what Sony has given them. Like, this really does look like a Sony written document that they've sort of changed the few words. And what Sony fears isn't necessarily Game Pass. It's Game Pass getting big games in it, making it, a force that they have to contend with, because they can easily compete with this. All it takes is putting in day and date games. That's it. That's an easy thing for them to pull off. It doesn't even have to be theirs. They just have to put in day and date games, right? They could easily compete with this. They just don't want to. They like the $70 games. And so that's why it really hasn't, right? Because if they were analyzing it, to your point, if they were analyzing it on their own, yes, they could see that and say, well, hey, this could potentially be an issue. Is there a competitor that can do something with it? And the answer is yes. And if they see that, then they could say, well, okay, cool. Sony could respond. Here are the things they would need to do. Can they fiscally do that? Yes, they can do that. So why not? So we can just say, let it go, right? And I think was it Cade who said basically those kind of things, right? The Brazil, regulatory agency. They kind of went through all these things and said, looking at the market, there's nothing that another competitor couldn't handle. So it seems like this is open, and cloud is too nascent to even bother with, right? And that's true. It's like Google tried and couldn't even go there. And I think Google's major failure was freaking Sony blocking games from going to subscription services, so you couldn't get their games into, like, the marketed games from Sony into Stadia Pro, which is really the only way that was ever going to work. Nobody's going to pay $70 for games that were going to go away. So, but anyway, like, I think they see that as very nascent. So that I hope that's where the FTC is as well. But they could go after any one of these things. But you're right. That is the one area that Microsoft is definitely a little ahead. Even though Sony started it, they just kind of let it go.
That's right. They actually have a lead there. There's a lead there in the market for Microsoft. It's the one thing that you could make an argument that Microsoft could really corner the market there if they got this deal. Like, hey, we got this deal. They're going to corner this market. Sony's not going to be like you pointed out. And I can't remember who pointed it out earlier in the week, but someone mentioned, and I completely agree. And another one is Kodak, Blockbuster. Sony are behaving very much like Blockbuster, where they have an opportunity to really get into this market early and compete, and they are not doing it. And it is to their detriment. And I don't think they're going to not do it forever. I think they're trying to hold off. Umbra, you wanted
Brad
to say?
Smith said as much. He pointed that out. He said that Sony is Blockbuster to their Netflix, basically.
Yeah.
So they're outdated.
Nobody has the infrastructure to take on Game Pass apart from Amazon and Google, but
no, I mean, I think Sony could pretty much do it, but the problem is just what you were saying. It may be too late, right? Pactor was saying that. It's like, look, if you keep waiting,
it's definitely too late.
right? People are just gonna make the association. Oh, I want that Netflix of gaming. I go to Game Pass, right? And that's on Sony. They need to come to the market and do it now. They need to respond. But they're not.
I think they definitely have the power to change that narrative for sure.
I'll ask you this then. Does the infrastructure thing make a difference? Because I would have thought, yes, Sony can do it, but they're having to pay Xbox to use xCloud and able to do it.
That's if you want to do the cloud piece of it, right? The cloud piece of it, I don't know that they need to go beyond where they are, because it's too, just like PSVR, right? Microsoft saying like that is just too niche. Let's see if that goes anywhere, and if it makes sense, we'll invest, right? Whereas, in the flip, cloud isn't really a tried and true thing yet, so Sony does not need to invest in that much as they need to invest in day and date games.
But bringing it back to the topic. Well, is that a reason for the FTC to block the deal, looking at that burgeoning market, which
they can put in concessions, right? They can put in concessions. The simple thing, and one of the simple concessions could be Game Pass can't increase price unless there's some radical inflation thing for the next 4 years, 3 years, whatever, right?
Or another concession they could add is that Game Pass cannot put into their deals with the third parties that it can't go to another subscription platform.
Yeah. How many what is there? 27 million subscribers to Game Pass or something like that? It said. I think.
29. Well, 29, Sony somehow claimed.
Okay, so clearly
Sony claimed 29. Although I don't know.
29 on console, and there's probably another couple of million on PC.
Okay, so we'll just say 30 million because we don't really know the exact number. And clearly, that's more than $1 billion in a year when it's all said and done, right? $10, you're looking at like $3.5 to $4 billion. I mean, that's clearly more evidence to be like go against than it would be the Call of Duty situation. Like when it's all said and done, like you're clearly right. $4 billion is a lot of money compared to this $2 billion or whatever Call of Duty's bringing in a year. Yeah.
But the problem is, Mac, they weren't going off of that. They were going off what Sony had told them.
But that's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't they go after the Game Pass theory more than the Call of Duty theory so they can win? The Call of Duty theory?
Sony doesn't care about Game Pass. That's not their model.
Because
their model, what they were thinking of is, how do I stop this deal so I can keep Call of Duty marketing and not have Microsoft have it? So they didn't even think about Game Pass. Yeah, it was they probably lacked foresight on that.
Before my internet got changed, we all know that I had really bad internet. I tried that stuff when Stray come out. I couldn't even play Stray because it was messing up and stuff like that. My download was taking forever. I hated it. I instantly canceled that crap instantly because I was like, that's a waste of money. Game Pass, I download, I can walk away. My system downloads it fine. For some reason, it's a lot wrong with the PlayStation's format of their subscription process or whatever you want to call it. It's just bad.
Yeah, but I mean, to download a game is it doesn't, cloud or internet eventually going to get that game. And the thing is, I think what Sony's doing here, and they know. And Pete, I think you're absolutely right in a way, is that, Sony's general first-party offerings, third-person, over-the-shoulder, sad dad, walking simulators, whatever you want to call them, these games don't have longevity, so they wouldn't keep a subscription service going. What you need is a variety of games. They don't have that variety of games currently, but we can see them making moves to create that variety of games. I really do think what they are doing is trying to buy as much time as possible. And I know, Umbra, you're saying it'd take 4 or 5 years, but that doesn't matter. If they can get 2 years out of this deal being held up, they can get whatever they can out of this deal being held up before Game Pass becomes too big to compete with and not worth it for them to put their time into.
That's not going to hurt them though, Risk. Like that's one venue. You got so many other things that's going to bring people into Game Pass, from Starfield and everything else. So that's why that's irrelevant ultimately. And those games are not going to be 2 years worth of time. It's going to take 5 years or whatever. So, and they're not guaranteed to work because most games like that fail. That's why I say I don't
that's
think
absolutely
that's really
true. But Sony has to bet on something. They're not going to go ahead and put in these first party traditional games that they have generally coming out into a subscription service. It just doesn't work.
At least not yet.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. They will do it, but they're trying to buy as much time as they can so they don't have to jump early. Because imagine if this deal did go through, they might have to jump early and start putting those games in. They're going to take a loss. Anytime you start a subscription service like this, it runs at a loss. They know that. They need something to keep people coming back. And what's their biggest revenue stream?
Service.
It's microtransactions. So
live
they need something to
microtransactions come from it. Yeah,
exactly.
That's automatic. Free to play microtransactions, mega millions from that, sometimes billions.
I know it is. It really is.
Yep.
But one of the things they could do though, Riskit, is that they could say, let's take our entire back catalog, because that actually is not a thing, right? They don't say every one of our games is in this service. They should just do that. There's no reason not to, right? Whatever you have available, just say, look, all of our old games, 2 years and older, are in this service. There's a lot of people who have not played a lot of those games. They suddenly get access to them, right? It's worth it to have the subscription, right? And then you could just start inching your way towards day and date, right? Maybe it's 6 months at some point, and then you finally just say, you know what, day and date, because now we've got, 40 million, 30 million subscribers.
Right.
It's more than enough to cover our costs. You can go ahead and have it, right? There's still going to be people who don't subscribe and go buy the game. That's fine. And there are still people who are going to buy it on Steam. You're still going to get that money, but it would more than enough pay for it once they get to a certain level. But they got to give something.
But wouldn't it affect the quality? Sorry.
It may.
No, it's Sony, so they'll keep the quality up somehow.
Yeah,
this is Sony.
At this point,
to be fair, you might be right. The quality could potentially be different, but you know what? That's what market forces are doing, right? So people like Game Pass, whether that's something Sony likes or not, or Sony fans like or not. People like Game Pass. Therefore, the market is determining whatever that model works with. That's what you got to put out.
Well, look, they just put The Last of Us, part 1 6 months later. Why not just do like you just said? Do 6 months afterwards, put it on PC, and then put it on your service, and bam, it actually works.
Why not?
It works. You already put it on PC, so you're putting it out there for most of the people that don't own a PlayStation. So there you go.
Even better would be if you put it on both. If you take your subscription service and say it now is also available on PC. Right now, you just get a whole bunch of players on PC that are willing to subscribe as well.
Well, that's right? See, but they got,
I
like I
agree.
just said earlier, like with that, my internet was bad. I was trying to download like an old game and stuff like that. They got to fix that where you can't. The download crap is stupid.
Well, that's the least of their worries right there.
I
Their
know,
biggest-
but that's one of them. That's part of one of the
Yeah.
problems why I don't like it. I mean, for me at least. Well, now I don't care. My internet will make it look like it's
Yeah.
it'll actually make it look like a good game.
But I'm talking about
unlike Forspoken.
as far as big metrics go, though. The thing is, it's like when it comes to that, the reason why they won't put those games in 6 months after the fact is because people would just wait 6 months. I would just wait 6 months.
I would.
I definitely would wait.
Maybe not Spider-Man 2, but every other game I could. So.
Yeah, but see,
Yeah,
that's it. A blockbuster, I wouldn't. I'd get it day.
I would wait. I'm talking about if that was the model they went after, where they said, "I'll put these in 6 months later into the service."
Yeah,
I'll
but
wait.
a lot of people. Okay, what 5 million people bought God of War? How many people do you think would have waited out of those 5 million? Maybe what 100,000, maybe.
I don't think it'll be that little. I think
Yeah.
maybe more if it was people really invested into it and those games were coming 6 months after the service. I could see them waiting. I could see a good half of them people waiting.
I
But
think
the thing is, but you got to change that mind, that culture over there. Our culture here on the Xbox side of things is because we know we get our games day and date. PlayStation guys have been trained to say we got to buy these games. We got to support the devs. We got to, we got to get Jim Ryan another yacht. I've heard them say this. So
Jim Ryan says jump. They jump as high as they can.
Exactly. So that's part of the thing. It's the mind. What's the word I'm looking for? It's the
mindset.
Mindset. Thank you.
Yeah.
I could not get that word out. It's the mindset that they've come to learn over there versus how Xbox guys have been trained over the years.
They're robots,
and value wise, we've gotten to the point of like, yeah, hey, Game Pass. It's worked. You know what I mean? And theirs have been pay for it. Support the devs. That nonsensical argument, and that's what it is. But Risk, I think you had another super chat from Drawn.
Yeah, I got quite a few actually, but I will get to them in a minute. But I think you guys are underestimating FOMO, and gamers are like one of the worst consumers that suffer from FOMO. And if everyone's like, oh, this game is awesome, I'm not saying first week sales, but I'm saying second week sales. When everyone's on Twitter, all the hardcores are talking about it, filters down to the casuals. I don't know, man. I don't think that they would lose as much as they think they would, but I do think they think what you think, Umbra. I think they think that if we make it 6
Y'all
months,
hear what he just said?
Yeah.
I don't think you think that they think it would, but
I do.
I think they think what you think.
I do think that Sony thinks exactly like you. They're like, we're going to lose too much if we do this, and it's not worth it for us. And initially, it won't be worth it, but it will be. They just got to give it time. Game Pass wasn't built in a day. Look, we're going to move on from this topic. Cutie, I just wanted to go to you. Was there anything else that you wanted to add about the FTC just basically laying their dick on the table and then having it chopped off by Xbox in the first day?
Look, it's very amusing, especially for people like us who are not really a part of it. But I really hope at the end of the day that there's a happy ending.
I think there will be.
What type of happy ending we talking here?
All right. We'll have Deshaun Watson.
Someone had to go there.
Don't say that about Deshaun Watson. He ain't here.
Someone had to go there.
Look, that's my quarterback.
This is too much testosterone for me. It's a 5-on-1. It's.
Oh my god. Anyway, so look, I'm going to move to these super chats. But before I do, guys, don't forget that we go live every Friday, 7 p.m. EST, and the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing today. Love every single one of you guys. Don't forget, you don't have to super chat if you want to ask a question. Type question in. Everyone has a voice in this chat. Drawn TJ with $5 super chat says, I got to ask you guys, would you be for a voting system that allows consumers to vote out or in the FTC board? Yes, 100%. That's how it should fucking be, I think. But I wouldn't get a vote. But Hargeet, I'm sure that you would be for that. Why wouldn't you be for a democratic system? You're a democratic country. Like, that's crazy talk. I don't get it. I think a lot of these, when it comes to courts, when it comes to the FTC, when it comes to a lot of these things, I think that presidents use them as political positioning, and I don't think that should be the way.
I'd say that it's not normally like this. You don't usually hear the FTC doing weird things, and most of the times they've had a pretty spotless record because most of the times they go after somebody, it's legit. And so Lena Khan is really the problem here, right? It's this administration being a little too activist and deciding to put in somebody like Lena, and that's where we're getting these oddities. I don't think this normally would have happened. I think they would have gotten the concessions and moved on.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's all dependent on the administration at the time, because you remember, and I'm sure many of us here in America know, conservatives are less big government, less regulations. So that's why something like Fox was able to be acquired by Disney at the time, where most people were like, that's not going to happen. And it would have made sense for that to be blocked. Yep. Being clear, because that's a clear monopoly. But,
well, I don't even know if it's a monopoly, but I don't know if you realize this, but there was actually a law put in place that you couldn't have the major networks own each other. So like NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox could not own each other. Disney owns ABC, and they bought Fox. That actually violates that law. So they had to work around that. Right.
Yeah.
So
that is pretty crazy.
That is one that I think should have been potentially blocked. I mean, it is a little too big. But okay, good for Disney. They found a way.
True.
Let me just interrupt here real quickly. So Dauntless Dragon, honestly, dude, you're really starting to get on my nerves, mate. I never thought I would hear someone make supporting the developers sound like a bad thing. Yeah, so something wrong with your ears or the connection from your ears to your brain, dude. Engage your brain. Use that thing that's 3 feet above your ass, and you might actually be able to figure something out. He's not saying that it's bad to support developers. What he's saying is that buying a game doesn't really support developers. Developers get paid to make that game already, that they're already making the game. If the game does well, that supports the developers. Yeah, if the game does well, they might get another game. But one game is not shutting down a studio, and developers will still be getting supported and paid if they make a Game Pass game. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Just look at Platinum Games; they keep getting supported.
Yeah.
Exactly. These developers are already paid.
So can't wait for that game.
So the entire argument of support the devs, it's an idiotic argument PlayStation gamers, ponies came up with basically to try to diminish Xbox gamers because of Game Pass. Let's just be real here. But just to add though, TJ, I'll be up for voting for those people in the FTC. But the thing is, they're appointed like everybody pointed out by the president and the Senate. So we have no real say in that. That's the unfortunate part. And that's to say it's not all Democratic or all Republican. It can be no more than 3 of whatever party inside of each division. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole thing. But everything to me always comes down to money. And I wouldn't be surprised. And let's be real. Microsoft has donated millions upon millions to the Democratic Party, like somebody else pointed out earlier in the chat. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this is to force their hand to possibly give up some money.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's I mean that would be corrupt. It's definitely a possibility. But I'll also say this: it should be definitely a rule. And I'll move on with these super chats after this. I think it should definitely be a rule that you need to fill your roster before any major decisions are taken. So at the moment, this was a 2-to-1 decision, and had they filled that roster out to the 5, it maybe wouldn't have been this decision. And they didn't seem to be in any hurry to replace the members of the FTC or nominate anyone else. So that to me is also a very interesting part of this whole deal. Grey Monad said, when do we think we are going to move off this topic soon, people? And I feel Grey Monad wants to move off it. When do we think our family Game Pass subscriptions are going to come through now? Look, hopefully soon, man. They were trialing it. I think it was in like a weird stranger country, a country that they were trialing it. So
Colombia and Ireland.
Colombia and Ireland. Yeah, weird choices, right? Maybe they've got large
small
families.
Markets. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. Drawn TJ. Is Sony? No, TJ. Sony is not like Hitler. It's probably a little bit strong.
Somebody asked, I forgot who it was, but they said, does that make, I think it was a UVA fan. He said, does that make Kanye a pony?
And let's be clear, what Sony is doing is absolutely what they should be doing. As far as like fighting for whatever, I don't know if they should have gone to the tactics they did, but they should be fighting.
Absolutely.
It's up to the regulatory agencies to have a brain and realize that they're just, lying to them.
Yeah, I mean, they're a business. They want their business. They have a market lead. They want to maintain the market lead. You can't begrudge Sony for that. You can definitely begrudge them for the stupidity that they've been spewing. I mean, some of the shit that they've been coming out with is just absolutely baseless and stupid. But like, that's fine if that's how they want to fight. But yeah, I agree, absolutely, 110%. Hargeet, it's up to the FTC to actually, like I said, connect their fucking brain to their ears and use their brain.
It's up to the FTC to do their fucking job. Wow, damn.
Crazy.
It's a joke, isn't it, mate?
Logic with the $2 super chat said, yeah! I just wanted to say it how he wrote it. So, g'day, Logic, how you doing?
That is absolutely not how that's said right there. I want you to go back and try that one more time.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an American thing. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
No.
No?
Oh.
Cutie, could you read it? I want to hear Cutie try it.
Oh, yeah.
It's YEERRRR.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Both of y'all suffer from this. What's going on over there?
There's Oz in there.
It's that Aussie thing because you all say no like no. I noticed that.
No.
See?
No.
No.
See?
You guys, they add R to it.
Yeah.
It's yer. Like yer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're moving on to the next super chat. It's gone way too long.
Good choice.
Drawn TJ with the $2 super chat says, he says Blockbuster died because they didn't adapt. That's exactly what Kodak. If you sit down and study business, I haven't, but I do know someone who has studied business extensively. Kodak is actually a subject that they go over briefly. If you want to become a business major, they will study Kodak because Kodak sat on its hands because they had the market lead and they let it go, just like Blockbuster. And it's exactly what Sony's doing, but Sony's not really sitting on their hands. They are fighting. They're just maybe not fighting in the right areas. Drawn TJ with another $2 super chat says, Sony fans have been trained to be a pet for Sony. Oh, they're so cute too. Boba Fett Gaming with a $5 super chat says, shout out to the Infinite Crew and the Milestone. Well earned. Thank you, Boba. You're a champion. Close friend of the show, man. Love that guy.
Honestly, I'm like blown away. Like, you guys are so generous. Thank you so much. We really love your support.
They're absolute champions.
We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Absolutely. Every single one of them. Tevin with a $10 super chat says, hit the like button. That's my job, Tevin. No. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. But guys, please do hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. We're going to move on to the next topic. The next topic is now I'm going to stall a bit because I haven't been scrolling through stuff and I'm normally doing things in the background.
7 minutes, Riskit.
To be ready.
I'm just going to say that live.
She's got 7 minutes. And what are we going to talk about for that 7 minutes? It has to be the Game Awards. It has to be the Game Awards. Absolutely. We're not going to do Halo because no one cares about. Only kidding. We are going to do Halo, but a little bit later. So the Game Awards, actually a pretty decent show. Okay. I thought it was a great show. There was a lot there for me. There's a few things here. I definitely got my water heater gooey. I am showered and I smell amazing. So sorry, moving back.
What's up, gooey?
The Game Awards was good. Loved it. There was definitely something missing from it. And there was something that kind of seemed to be added quite a bit. And what I'm talking about here, I just want my 2 cents on this. How the fuck did God of War win Score of the Year? It's the same score as 2018. Like, it's slightly different, right? So it'd be pretty much if we did a show, right? Us guys, Xbox Infinite, we did a show, and the last 2 minutes of the show is the only part that we changed, and then we re-added the show again. Like, that's pretty much what happened here. And then we won a fucking award for being lazy. It's not being lazy. It's a great score. Like, it really is a great score. I just do not understand. And God of War seemed to prevalently win a lot of awards. Not saying it didn't deserve to be awarded, but there were other games within those categories that deserved to be awarded. And I really feel like it was I'm sorry, Sony, that we couldn't give you Game of the Year. So we're going to give you as much runner-up shit as we can. Please don't hate us.
You know what? I agree with that. I agree with that, Riskit, because I like in the categories of best score in music. Like I don't know. It was pretty dismal, to be honest. Like, there wasn't, for me anyway, there wasn't much that stood out. So yeah, you're potentially right. They were probably just like, oh, sorry, you know, here's some consolation prizes just to get your name out there more.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Plague's Tale was a good score, but Elden Ring's score was fucking epic. I love that score. Like,
Yeah, but it won Game of the Year. It's like, I don't know. It's like awards at school. You know, if a kid gets ducks, you know what I mean. Like, they're not going to get like the maths award, the science award, the English award. They're going to try and give that to someone else.
That's true. But should you do that with an award show? The other major thing that we need to talk about, and guys, if you have any opinions on that, please let me know in the chat. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that God of War should have won the score? That rhymed, and it was in time. Anyway, moving on. The other thing that we need to talk about with I'm the only one laughing. Game of the Year awards is Game of the Year awards.
For me, you cut out right in the middle of your sentence, so I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, good.
Yep, you cut out for a second.
That's probably a good thing then. The other thing about Game of the Year awards is where was Xbox? A lot of conjecture about this one, and I know that there's a lot of. But what I'm saying is, Atari didn't turn up, man. Atari wasn't there. You don't hear anyone else complaining about Atari. No, we're not damage controlling. We're not damage controlling this. Look, Hargeet
the right game won. The right game won Game of the Year. I just want to say that.
Agreed. But where was Xbox? Let's talk about that.
Dropping the code for Game of the Year.
Absolutely. Game of the Year edition, Elden Ring. Look, where was Xbox? Here's my thoughts on that, and then I'm just going to move to the panel. I'm just going to say I kind of understand this. We were talking earlier about there might possibly be a show in January. If that is the case, that is why. Also understand, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been there. It's a major misstep that they should have been there. They should have shown us something. But also I think you need to understand that these shows are booked, 12 months, 6 months in advance. And at that time, there was a lot going on with the FT and a lot of unsurety about which way this would go, not just the FTC, but the CMA and the EU as well, which is still current and going on. So Microsoft might have been a little bit cagey. They've also showed us what they had coming in the next 6 months. They did that 5 months ago when they showed us what's coming in the next 12 months. We haven't seen much of that. Is there any utility in showing us what you've already shown us is coming in the next 12 months? So, I mean, what are you going to say? Are you going to show us the next 6 months ahead? Or are we going to make it to E3 and you're going to show us the next 12 months ahead? So I understand the decision. I still think they should have had more of a presence. And Umbra, I'm going to go to you because you made a tweet that ended up being in an article. Umbra has made it. He is the man.
Mama, I made it.
Ended up being in an article, and it got a lot of comments, a lot of likes, and I just want to hear your thoughts and what was around you making that tweet.
Like the more I watched the show, the more I started to get drained. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but like the more I start seeing Game Pass commercial ads,
3.
Yeah, the more I was like, okay, so where's the game? Where's the next? Where's the Xbox game? Show us something. And then it got to the Game of the Year, and Keeley came on stage and he said, "There's one more thing." And I'm like, "Oh wait, is there one more thing?" Now I'm doing all this in a watch party with Mav and crew, and all of us were just like, "Okay, what's going to happen?" And then he's like, "All right, folks, thank you for coming out. See you later." And I'm like, "No, the hell they didn't. No, the hell Phil and Sarah didn't go all the way out to LA." And gave us nothing. Phil looked actually displeased, by the way, in the audience. I don't know what was up. I don't know their understanding of why they did that. I had so many people coming at me to try to defend Microsoft. It really irked me. And I'm a big time Xbox fan. You all know me. I had some even try to claim I was a ponyhead. So I was like, come on, y'all. But it upset the hell out of me because this is the biggest gaming event of the year. Now, people tried to argue that. Last year, they had 85 million views. It is the biggest of the year. There's no argument here anymore. You don't go there and not show anything from first party. Nothing. I would have been content if they would have shown a Redfall trailer and said, this is the launch date. I would have been content with that. Rather that than nothing, and they gave us nothing, and that really bothers me. Now there is a rumor, of course, Risk, like we talked about, from Paris, who mentioned it, and he could have been coy there because he did mention host one of their XOs before, as we know, not the XO, but their post game, 2 of their actually events before. So it could have been him kind of alluding to the fact that there will be a show in January, but the fact that we'd have to wait for that. And I think I mean, it's possible. But my thing is why would you not do it at the biggest show of the year, or at least one of, right? So I don't want to get into semantics, but my whole thing is you announced the Xbox Series X there, you announced Hellblade 2 there, so people try to write it off. Well, they don't really, I mean, they don't show things there. Yes, they do. It's important to Microsoft. They've made it clear that it's important to them. I don't get why you would go there and not show a thing. To me, it's still, I'm just puzzled by it, and I thought maybe I'd be kind of one of the lone dissenters. I figured a lot of Xbox fans and fanboys would probably try to defend it, but I saw a lot of people actually giving it a lot of flack. Paris gave it flack. Clobriel, who was super positive, gave it flack. You had Jazz talked about it. Rand talked about it, at least on their show. And the article, of course, from Windows Central, you had Ryan McCaffrey. Now, the mileage may vary with Ryan because a lot of people on the Xbox side don't care for him as much after he put his foot in his mouth a few times. But he wasn't wrong here in what he said, and he wrote an article about it. And it's just puzzling to me, man. And I was really upset by that. I'm still bothered by it. And, the argument was, well, they can't show too much because of the FTC. If that is the argument, that they couldn't show anything because of the FTC proceedings, then we should not be expecting anything for E3. If that's your argument, you should not be expecting anything for E3 because the supposed time where they would meet with the FTC would be in August. That means they can't show anything because obviously Sony and the FTC is going to say, see, look at all these games they got coming out. You saw the E3 event. You see what I mean? That's why it's illogical. I can go on for days and Risk, we did when I jumped in that party with you and Pete, and you all heard me. I was annoyed. I was frustrated. And it comes from a genuine place. And a lot of people might try to, I get some people have more leeway than others, right? But I think I'm at that threshold right here when it comes to Microsoft. And it's not to say that I'm not happy for the future or at least excited for the future. I know we got some good stuff coming. We really do. 2023 is going to be a great year for Xbox. The problem I have with Xbox, though, is their lack of logic when it comes to marketing. They fail time and time again when it comes to marketing their games. They do it all the time. I don't understand it. You had Cody Eastwood even talked about it earlier today on in Rand's chat, and he said if I had just give me a few months to go through all these different studios, they have 23 studios right now, and not even including like the helper studios and such, that you can go and get little snippets from and put a reel together. Why didn't they do anything like that? To me, it makes no sense. And then you get it said of a Game Pass ad, well, wait for 2023. It feeds right into the little pony narrative of wait. They do it all the time. You've all have seen it, the old aged field memes and such. And
they hear us.
We hear you.
You know what I think? I think there must be something tied in their hands that we don't know about. But
I don't know.
And Phil did look displeased, and I think maybe they wanted to announce something but weren't allowed to for whatever reason. I don't know. But look, as negative as that and disappointing as that is as Xbox gamers, there was some really exciting stuff, and I was really excited to see Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yes.
I was very excited to see that gameplay. What?
Spectacular.
So good. It was so good.
Oh, so good. I thought you said, oh,
it looked
God.
Spectacular.
It looks fantastic. I just cannot wait to jump into that world, and everyone can play that game. So
just to add to that, they did show a few games, by the way, that is coming to Game Pass. Obviously, they showed Atomic Heart. We saw Space Marine 2, which looks spectacular, by the way.
Transformers,
exactly. Judas. We saw a lot of good games.
Yep,
basically spiritual Bioshock. But my thing is we're just as far as Xbox first party goes, I felt like Microsoft dropped the ball here when it comes to that specifically.
No, because it's going to be the year of Starfield.
Yeah,
but then you would think they would advertise that.
Show it.
Yeah, show that.
No,
it's going to be the year of Starfield and Redfall. Showcase that.
Cooked, okay, you guys complain all the time about these games that are released.
I don't think that game's half cooked. Cutie, they flat out came out and said the game was done. It's ink. He said it's on ink. Is done. He said, Todd Howard. That's before the delay.
Like
then
I
it was
said,
delayed.
I think there was something stopping them showing it. I don't know what. I don't know why, but
I would agree with that.
You're right.
I would absolutely.
I don't know what
110%
stopped
agree
it,
with
but I don't buy the case that it wasn't
Yeah,
that it's half cooked
Cyberpunk.
and they don't have
That's what
anything.
stopped it. They don't want that bullcrap. They don't want it on their table.
No, it's higher than Phil at this point because it's $70 billion. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And as far as timing, look, they still have the CMA, they still have the EU, and the FTC's already done its stupidity, so that one's going to court. So that one they don't have to worry about anymore. But they still have the optics issue with the EU and CMA. So they're still gonna just be very, very mum. Because again, this is not about the normal practice. It's about Sony. Sony will literally take everything they say and put it in their face, go to the regulators and say, see, they do that. They do that.
Like
Look
you
at this.
said, yeah.
That's literally what's going to happen because everything they've done that. Every
But
single
I
step.
challenge that.
What
I
about-
challenge that though, Hargeet, because those are two different things.
Well, look,
Now,
before
if they
we
were going to
before we get
acquire
into
somebody
this,
else,
hang on a minute. Before we get into this, Cutie is kind of running out of time. I did just want to get.
oh yeah, that's right.
I did just want to get.
Sorry,
what,
boys. I know it's a big week. I knew it was going to be a big week. So yeah, I'm really sorry. I do
all
have to
good.
cut this short, but 2 hours is my limit this week.
Yeah, absolutely. But
but
look,
yeah,
just before you do go, what else did you like that you find exciting from the show? Because there was a lot there that was amazing. Was there anything else there for you? And then we'll let you get out of here.
I was surprised by the Death Stranding 2. I know it's a really weird, strange story. I know a lot of people don't get it, but I think that was a cool surprise for anyone who is in the game, who likes that game. Diablo 4, obviously spectacular. Halsey, mwah, perfect. Loved
Yes.
it.
Oh,
Loved
yes.
it. Oh my gosh,
So good.
how dramatic and theatrical was that? I loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really excited for that.
Yeah, I was really excited when she came out too. Anyway,
Well, from you.
Cutie, let us know where we can find you, what you'll be up to, what we'll be playing this week. And we will let you get out of here. Just before we do, just hit the like button, subscribe, guys. If you do want to find any of our guests or any of the panel members out there in the world on social media, you can find those links down in the description. Cutie?
This week, I'm going to be playing more Xbox. That is my goal for this week. So yeah, hopefully I'll be joining in on your parties and stuff. Yeah, so hit me up for some Halo or whatever you want to play. I'll be doing my Forza weeklies as normal, and yeah, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on streaming on Twitch, and yeah, my links are all down below. So yeah, check me out and have a good week, everyone. And thank you so much to our guests, Hargeet and MacBound. Always lovely to have you boys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome, fantastic. We'll let you get out of here. And yes, we definitely need to do some co-op in Halo. As Cutie transitions out. Umbra, look, and just before you do go, I semi-agree, but Umbra, I also completely agree with DoomCutie and Hargeet. There's something else going on. I don't think it's just the FTC, CMA, and the
Are you
EU.
trying to say that there is something in the way?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely something in the background. And I'll also add that Aaron Greenberg came out and said after the show, after hearing the response from Xbox fans, which was rightly indignant, that they have something coming and it's sooner than you think.
But then think about what you're saying, Risk, and that's my point. If the argument is that, well, they can't show anything that they're making as far as the studios, the FTC knows what games they have. Let's be clear. Microsoft has to give them an item list of what they have and what they're making. They see these things. So if the idea is that they have to hide the games they have that they're making, how can they run a business as far as a gaming division? So that right there doesn't stop anything. They have plenty of games already in the works that have no bearing on this acquisition. They could have shown anything from In Exile to Compulsion to the Initiative to anything. I do not buy that. And then furthermore, to add to that, if Aaron is saying, yeah, we got some good stuff coming for you, and let's say it's a showcase, then wouldn't they be showing those games that we just didn't see?
They're hoping that they can get those EC and EU, CMA approvals. That's really it.
I don't know. I just don't buy it, bro. I mean, I hear you. I just don't think that makes sense. You know what I mean? Logically, because they're going to have to show those games at some point. And whether
they will hold off as much as they can. They have been radio silent. If you haven't noticed, they've done like nothing now.
To be fair to you, you're right. They have been kind of radio silent. So maybe there is something to go there, but I just don't know if that's it. But maybe you're right. I'll say this. I don't know.
Maybe they
I'll
don't
say
have
that.
anything, or the games are delayed, or something like that. Is that what you were thinking, Riskit, or you think it's what I'm saying?
I think again exactly what I said. I think looking at it from you've got the CMA, the FTC, and the EU breathing down the necks. Fun speculation. Mav in the chat there makes a very good point. And Mav, that's why I'm skeptical about what Ram was saying. He said also having a show soon contradicts not being at the Game Awards. It definitely does. Also, the type of showing that they have. So, Umbra, what you're talking about is talking about Redfall. We're talking about Starfield. These are games that don't need more sizzle reels or trailers. What they need is deep dives to be shown. And the Game Awards.
I don't even need a deep dive. They could have shown a launch trailer saying, "Hey, it's going to be launching on this date." Exactly.
Yep. Like, the Game Awards though should have been something cool, right? Something new, like maybe In Exile's game. And the thing is any flash, and that's what they're just totally avoiding it. Any flash, they'll say, "Look at that." They
I agree.
Have these big games.
I agree, and you've already shown.
Give them a crumb and they make it a meteor. You know.
Yeah.
I'm imagining
literally.
I'm imagining one of the Sony people walking to see.
I mean, they've been doing it. It's just so
Definitely
crazy.
Chris Judge's speech, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, that's gold. Boba Fett.
I told Umbra that last night.
Boba Fett in the chat there said, "What's longer, this podcast or Chris Judge's accepted speech?" Yeah, it was always going to be a long one. It's always going to be a long one. Boba Fett. 100.
Ego, that's what.
It's just a lot happened this week. But look, also just to finish what I was saying there is that you've got to remember they showed a 12-month slate. What's coming? So you're going to show that again. Are you going to show what's coming in the next 6 months after that 12 months? Or are you going to wait for E3? And Umbra, you said it's the biggest show. And I believe that Shaggy, Ryan McCaffrey, did say that. He said it's the biggest show. And I pushed back on that as this year. And when I pushed back on it, I did mean because Colt Eastwood came after me. I was like, Jesus, Colt.
Oh,
Jesus.
did he?
Yeah, he did. I've seen that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he did. He said it is the biggest show. Yeah, it's been the biggest show this year. Absolutely. This year.
Which one are you talking about? The VGAs or
VGAs?
Yeah, the VGAs.
It's not the biggest show that we normally get. And E3's been cancelled, so I guess you can say for a while it has been, but it's not the show that gets the most eyes. The show that gets the most eyes is E3 traditionally. With in person.
E3, I'm not going to use. Well, we can't use E3 as it is because E3 hasn't been as big anymore. So I'm talking about currently.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been the biggest show going on for a few years now.
I can understand that because E3 has been cancelled for 3 years, but generally it's not the biggest show. It's not the traditional show where things are generally shown. It's had to be the show because they haven't had an E3 for 3 years. But there is an E3 around the corner, and Xbox knows that. And that E3 falls at the end of the 12 months that they've shown. So when it falls there,
so then would they then be showing a little early show then in January or February? You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So then, if that's the case, then if E3 is the thing, then that diminishes the thought of us having some secret show that they would have.
But Umbra, I think the things they want to show are the games they know that are already coming, right?
Yeah.
Just to give you, here's the release date for Redfall. Here's some gameplay, right? That isn't something you're going to do at the Game Awards. At the Game Awards, you want to introduce games that are going to make people want to come to Xbox. And they can't. Unfortunately, they're just so locked right now. But I hope that's going to go away soon. But they have to wait for the European approvals. It's disappointing.
So you're saying, Hargeet, like new games. Where you're not you're not talking about Starfield and Redfall, the games that should be announced or shown at that game. Is that what you're saying? You're saying only new games should be shown at the VGAs.
Yeah, new stuff that's gonna entice people to come to Xbox, right? And to me, I didn't find the Game Awards as compelling. I was yawning a lot. I gave it
a 6 out of 10, so I can't say much.
I was yawning too.
And I think the thing that's different, like if I go back to other ones, it's very similar in content, except for one major problem. No Xbox. Xbox has been that flash, right? They give you stuff that like, this is crazy, right? But
exactly.
And that was just gone. It was missing, right? And PlayStation never does anything very cool there. Neither does Nintendo, right? They have little things here and there, but they don't go, here's my new console, boom, right? Here's Perfect Dark. Like, they went crazy, right? But like, unfortunately,
Scalebound remastered coming finally. Sorry,
right?
Finally.
but that's the thing, right? So and because they weren't there, I never had that moment of like, wow, right? And so there was cool games that we kind of already knew were coming, and some were new, but it never really elevated to me. And maybe that's just a bias that I have for Xbox or something, but it just never seemed to like get to that level. But that's how I felt about it. I kind of was yawning a lot. I'm like, what is this? It's boring.
No, I feel you. I did the exact same. I yawned a few times, and I'm doing a live stream with Mav and the fellas, so I have to mute my mic. I didn't tell Mav, but I actually dozed off at one point.
So listen,
towards the end.
I kind of want to get your thoughts on that as we move into what we thought of the Game of the Year awards. Definitely want to get Pete's thoughts as well. But before I do, I'll just go through these super chats real quick and some of the questions that the chat has asked. So Drawn TJ asks, what do you guys think about Dune Awakening? It's an MMO. It was originally a PC RTS game. I love RTSs, man. I don't think most, unless Mac, are you an RTS fan?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so most of the panel's probably not really interested. Apparently, it's really, really good. So I kind of can't wait for it personally. Hargeet dropped a $2 super chat Elden Ring code. Who got that code? It's a bugbear of mine. It pisses me off when people don't say thank you.
Hargeet is still the MVP. That's all I want to say. He's the MVP of the community.
So please,
appreciate you, Hargeet.
Yeah, please say thank you at
Matt,
least.
Do you have a code to put in as well, mate?
Oh, I do have a code. Yes, I do have a code. I'm going to put it in there. It is a code for a 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate US. I'm going to give it like 30 seconds and I will put it in the chat. But it's US. You have to be, you don't have to have Game Pass. It will not work if you do. It's just one of those free months they give you, trying to sucker you into playing Game Pass, I guess, or whatever. But it is a US code. So if you're from anywhere else, you cannot use it.
Trying to suck you in. It's a dirty tactic. No, it's not.
Well, we already had the happy ending. We don't need no more in this party.
Full circle back to the old Pornhub. I mentioned.
Jordan TJ dropped another question. He said, did you watch K-Mega podcast on Tuesday? No, I didn't. He said he is so disgusted and disappointed in Sony. He said the PS5 will be his last Sony console. He is just going to play on PC and Xbox. Yeah, look.
I saw a few people actually express that sentiment, actually.
I'm not disgusted in Sony. This is a business and they're acting like a business and I get it. But I just think it's they look weak. We've said that often, and they really look weak with their arguments. Their arguments are weak. It's a bit pitiful if this is what you pay your lawyers to come up with. You think they come up with something better than that? I mean, they could have hired me. I would have come up with something. Big Mad Mo is why not? PlayStation waited years before the bangers happen. Can't wait for them, so I'll wait. I'm not sure, Mad Mo, exactly what you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, Xbox has had a rough run. We've been waiting for these bangers, but they're on the way. I hate saying it because people are like, "Oh, wait for it, wait Xbox." But 2023 is the year. It's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll shut down the show. I'll disappear into the bush. I'll buy a tent and I will live off the land and become a hermit. I won't do that. UVA fan 000 said, I know this is a shot in the dark, but if the EU and the CMA pass, do you think the FTC will buckle? No, they won't. They're not doing it in conjunction or for the EU or the CMA. In fact, it's the EU and the CMA that takes cues from the FTC usually.
Yeah, it's typically the other way around.
Yeah. But
now that the EU has come out and done what they've done and said what they said, condemning them, this thing is over with. I don't think they can come back from that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was their main argument. Two pillars of the argument was, one, how it would affect people, the employees, and the union situation. That was taken care of with the CWA siding with Microsoft and Activision now. And now, of course, the UE coming out telling them, no, that's flat out wrong. We never said that they offered those games from Bethesda going forward. They said legacy titles. So that's over with.
Yep.
Now, listen, you guys were talking earlier that Umbra, you were saying you were yawning through this, man. I fucking love this. I mean, Xbox wasn't there, but there was some banging third-party stuff that just looked really good, man. I think, and a lot of this stuff said 2023 on the launch, right? I mean, like you guys said, Warhammer Space Marine 2, man, that looks looks crazy,
spectacular.
Yeah.
Hey, Riz, did you miss one? It looked like you missed Yodani's super chat.
I might have missed one.
That's for you, Umbra. I think
that's why I picked up and noticed it, because he was like, let me read it.
Yeah.
So he says, let Umbra read this. He says, do you think the ATVI deal will go through? He says, me, an extremely Kodak black voice. I hope so. That's how Kodak sounds, by the way.
He does.
He sounds terrible. His terrible voice.
I hope so. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see.
He's a popular rapper, which is
crazy. And I did also miss another one that's Galveston. He said, do you think the decision was removed out of Phil's hand? He didn't look happy at all. Yeah,
He looked pissed.
Yeah, at one point, I think he even said we should have been here. A lot of people have got different takes on what they thought he said. But I was like, I watched it again because we were talking about it last night, Umbra, and I'm like, it really looked like he said we should have been here. So I feel like he thought that there was something they could have shown. But I mean, I would be pissed as well if my hands were tied and I knew I had games like in the pipeline that were coming soon. So I get that. But we're going to move on to Game of the Year. There's a shitload there. Like Ghosts of New Eden looked like really cool. Even the Cyberpunk looked pretty cool. We knew about Armored Core, but man, that looks sick as fuck. I mean, I really can't see how you were yawning through this, man. It was a really good slate of games.
To be fair,
Remnant, what about Remnant? Looked amazing, dude. I was like, holy shit. Like, this looks
part of the reason why I was yawning, though, is because I was tired as hell, to be fair. Like, I didn't have much sleep, so.
Yeah, and then looked really good, too, by the way.
Christopher Judge talking so long didn't help.
No, that dude did not shut up.
I was like, what was
20 minutes later? 20 minutes later.
The lighting in the ceiling.
It's like, yeah, he can think about everything.
He's so in touch with his emotions, too. And he's like, it reminds me of a moment when my child was born. I'm like, man, if you don't stop crying every 2 seconds.
Yeah. He's got broken emotions as well as a broken leg. I think it's took him a while to heal. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good show, man. It's good to see what's coming and like, I mean, Xbox wasn't there. PlayStation showed a little bit, Nintendo showed a little bit. But I mean, and yes, Xbox could have just showed 1 or 2 trailers. But what we got, like, some of these things look really good, man. I think Remnant was a big step up. Pete, I know you're a Remnant from the Ashes fan. Like, what did you think of the show as a whole?
I was disappointed with what Xbox brought. I thought that they really, really dropped the ball. And this is going back on the last topic, but I just wanted to add my thoughts into it. I think that coming up to the holiday period, Xbox has been so front and center and been really controlling the narrative this generation. And for them to drop the ball so significantly is just strange to me. I don't really understand it. And I think DoomCutie is right. I think something must be there holding him back. And I know that you don't agree with it, Umbra, but I can't see any other reason for them to just be like, they were just not there at all. And there was like 80 Xbox Game Pass ads.
There was three total.
They showed
3 total Game Pass ads. I wrote it down because it was irritating me after the second one.
Yeah.
It was incredibly irritating, and especially because they showed nothing. Could have been a perfect opportunity to showcase something, just like Hellblade did last year. I think they really could have really hammered home the power of the Xbox by showing something like Forza Motorsport, which is coming out next year. We haven't seen too much about it. I think that could have been a graphical showcase that they really could have pushed. And, although, we're not getting games till next year, that would have showed something for us to look forward to, especially after the success of Horizon. So, yeah, I'm really, really disappointed with that. In terms of the show itself, there was some really good stuff that I absolutely loved. Diablo 4 looked absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for that game. We got a release date. I think it's the 6th of June.
Yep.
Cannot wait. Can't come soon enough. Jedi Survivor, March 23rd. I mean...
Yeah, but you don't like Star Wars. What do you mean?
March 17th for us. It was March 17th.
You don't like Star Wars.
I rarely 100% games. I 100%ed that game.
But you hate Star Wars.
Very rare for me.
What do you mean?
What else was there? The guys that made BioShock, Ken Levine.
Yes.
I think an amazing game. Judas. Just looked fantastic. I think Ken Levine is an absolute pioneer in this industry. So anything he's got his hands involved in, I'm there. Cannot wait for that game. Replaced, which is another game that we had on this put this on your radar segment. We've been looking forward to that one for a while. Riskit coming to Game Pass day one. It looked great. I mean, the lighting effects on that. I know it's old style 16-bit graphics, but the lighting effects on that game just really, really made it stand out. Just amazing.
Yeah, you had to look to see if it was 16-bit at points, because I was like, hang on a minute, have they tidied up it? Is that not 16-bit? Oh, I'm like, no, it's 16-bit. Just that, yeah, you're right. The lighting was like sensational on that game.
Yep, and then things that I really want to see more about that are so the June MMO. I get it's an MMO, but that June universe is a fantastic universe to delve into. So I definitely want to see more about that. And then the Transformers game that came out of left field. Haven't had a really good Transformers game for a while. Really, really looking forward to that. And Baldur's Gate 3 really stood out to me as well.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons universe. That game looks phenomenal. So Larian Studios. Definitely a little bit hit and miss, but something that I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, so there was a lot there for me.
What about Armored Core?
Standout has to be Christopher Judd talking for that 8 minutes. I mean, that was just something else.
That definitely was more than 8.
I had a watch party with a few of the guys. We were watching it together, and we couldn't stop laughing. They tried to play that guy off 3 times, and he was having none of it.
Yes,
I mean, everything he wanted to get out, he got out.
I love how they started playing that music. You can hear it. They're like just slowly turning it up, slowly turning it up. Get off the stage, dude.
Yeah.
Get off the stage.
Al Pacino standing there going like, dude, I can't stand here forever. Come on.
He's about to die and shit.
How good was Al Pacino?
For me, were
reading the slug prompter.
He's back there. Come on!
The Godfather himself, Michael Corleone, coming up on stage, has no idea about games, but wow, anytime Al Pacino's on screen, I am there.
That's a good get, man.
Just
but
love that bit as well.
As he couldn't even read the teleprompter, he's like, I can't read the teleprompter.
He even admitted to it. He's like, dude, you admitted to it, man.
So good.
You can tell what was going on, man. Look. For me personally, I'm just going to say what I was excited for. There's literally shitloads, man. Armored Core, Jedi Survivor, Baldur's Gate, everything that Pete said looked awesome. Project Blue, I think it was, or Blue Project.
Blue Protocol.
Blue Protocol. We've had some bad runs of Protocol games. No, we have. Callisto Protocol was fine. Everything that came, like one thing that I really noticed about the difference between games that we saw at this Game Awards and games that we've seen, at previous awards, they looked a little bit more complete to me. So when they were saying 2023, I kind of actually believe them. But I have to ask the panel and the guests, MacBound, what was it that you saw, man, that was that really had you kind of excited? Or was it a mid-show for you? What did you think of the show?
It was about a 6.5, somewhere like that range. It wasn't an overboard show because I am irritated about the Xbox situation, but I understand with the whole situation going on. But Transformers, I was sitting in the party with Assassin. It was just me and him chilling. And when they showed Transformers, it was like bringing my childhood back. I love that. I loved all the old ones in the late 2000s, early the 10s. Love Cybertron and all that. Cannot wait to play that. That is my top one right now that is on the list is the Transformers. Armor Core looks amazing. I mean, we all know those games can be amazing. That has been what 10 years since the last one. And Tekken 8, Tekken 8 looks good.
It does. But you notice though, they downgraded it though, didn't they?
A little bit, yes. I've seen it, but it still looks amazing. Of course, Jedi Survival. I mean, it's by far one of my favorite games. The first one was my favorite, but that game it blew me away. Just how it looks and how detailed they got him, and oh man, him just having 2 freaking lightsabers at once. Oh man, that was one of my complaints with the first one, dude. Because you got the 2 lightsabers at the end, right? And you were like, disconnect them.
Yeah, and you were like, you could split them up, and that was at the end. But you couldn't really use it, man. You didn't really use it throughout the game because when I finished it, they didn't have New Game Plus. I didn't really get a chance to use the double lightsabers, man. But having that at the beginning, that's going to be fucking cool. Dude.
Yeah, there's a time frame in that game you could actually get a little bit earlier than you're supposed to, so you can use it a little bit more towards the end of the game. If you get it, you got to go out of your way to grab it. But not many people knew about that until they already beat the game, and so that's why that happened. I don't know why. It's kind of like me and Umbra had a conversation. Why not put that more towards the beginning of the game so I can enjoy it through the whole game and not the end of the game with no New Game Plus, which sucks.
Yeah,
that was the only
a lack of New Game Plus for those types of games. It's always terrible to me.
Yeah, and of course, Suicide Squad. By the way, Rocksteady him with Flash cutting off, him getting his finger cut off was funny.
And then Conroy thing,
and then Kevin coming which surprised me. I didn't know he did that. So it was like,
either.
So that, and then seeing Batman actually kill somebody was amazing. I mean, yeah, he doesn't do that, but it was like, wow, that's awesome. So yeah, a couple good games for sure. But those games were my hype up. But there's a lot of games that I really didn't care for at the same time. So did not care for Bayonetta Origins. I don't know why they would even bring that out 5 months after they just brought the other one out. Makes no damn sense. Typical Platinum games.
Yeah, that looks pretty mid to me. I won't lie.
Yeah, it was mid wouldn't even. That's too much credit. But that's my games that I liked about the show. So
yeah. Sorry, Umbra, you go.
No, I was gonna say no. I agree with that, but go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, Hargeet, I just wanted to go to you and see what you were actually excited for. But you play everything, so anything that's coming to Game Pass, I know you're playing it. But is there any games there that you are definitely going to go out of your way to find, buy, get day one?
I mean, Suicide Squad definitely, but that was kind of a given anyways. I just tend to like those Warner games anyways, and the Arkham series has been great. So that was one that stood out. I mean, there were other games that were interesting, but I don't know, like nothing really felt like there were games that we already knew about, and okay, we got some new trailers for them. Like, okay, that's cool. But I don't know, like nothing really stood out.
Did Halsey stand out at all?
But like again, Diablo I knew was coming, and at some point it's going to be in Game Pass. The question is, do I buy it before it comes to Game Pass? Because I don't know if the deal will ever be done by June.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yes.
But I mean, I will likely play that game, and will I buy it day one? I don't know. It just really comes down to how soon that deal is going to be done, and I just
that's how I look at it.
Game Pass.
So
realistically, Xbox could make a deal to bring Diablo 4 to Game Pass, and at that point, I wouldn't put it past them, man. Like, not, at that point they're going to be, say, June next year. They're going to be well into being prepared for litigation. They're going to know more where they're at. Obviously, there's going to be back and forth on the way there. They're going to know where they're at. I don't think that's going to hurt optics or anything when it comes to an actual litigation for it. So it's a possibility they might just go, look, let's just pay for this and get it on Game Pass just to show our subscribers that, hey, like when we get here, it's going to be a good thing, which we already know. But I mean, do you think that could happen?
I mean, they have the marketing rights. It's certainly viable. There's no reason they can't do it. They also, I mean, they probably should just start the negotiations on getting marketing rights for COD, just in case it does fall through. Like, just say, hey, we want to get the marketing rights for COD for the next 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could absolutely happen. It just depends on how much money they want to spend. Ultimately, if the deal finally goes through, they're just paying themselves. So it's fine. Yeah,
exactly. At the end of the day, any money they invest into Activision Blizzard really does come back to them if the deal goes through. And if it doesn't, well, they've gotten a great game for their subscribers. Umbra, I'm going
to go to them. Hey, can you give me my money back?
Money laundering going on,
right?
Anything at the awards that you didn't sleep through that you're super excited to see?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there are more than a few things. By the way, Blizzard are top notch with those CGI trailers. Man, that trailer was dope. That is a great trailer for Diablo 4. Man, a few things piqued my interest. Dead Cells Castlevania crossover again. That looked pretty dope.
Yeah.
I was excited for that. Brought back that old nostalgia for me. I would have said Hellboy, The Web of Weird, but we didn't see enough of that to really fully judge it. Atomic Heart continues to look impressive. I know it's not new, but they showed a little combat trailer, so it looked dope. What else was another one? I'm excited for the hide and seek mode, believe it or not, in Among Us. I know that it's silly to say.
It looks good.
That was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
Is that out now? I think
it's
out
today,
right
now.
It is out. Yep. They had the update.
Who's down? Who's down?
I'm down.
Well,
I think KJ's down as well. He said he wanted to play it.
Let's do this. After Us actually piqued my interest a little bit. The After Us game with the girl who had like the white hair and who had with the flowers coming behind her when she walked and stuff.
Yeah, that looked cool, man.
Platform. It looked pretty interesting right there. And I got a kind of a taste where I can, judge and like games from AAA to AA to everything else. Replaced looks spectacular. I'm extremely excited for Replaced. And like you pointed out Tekken, Mac, and I am excited for that because it's one of my favorites. But one of my all-time favorites, and I grew up on, is Street Fighter. And Street Fighter 6 actually impressed me from what they showed.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really good. I'm excited for that. But my biggest were definitely Judas, Star Wars for sure.
Death Stranding too. Sorry, my bad.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Are you sure
But
you are a pony? So you wouldn't buy the PlayStation.
I know,
Hades
right?
too, though, right?
Hades 2.
Two, yeah, that looks
That's
good.
probably my top one that got
Right
my
off
interest.
rip too.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that one I'm extremely excited for. That looks like it's going to be good, man. I'm so excited for that. I love the first one. I beat it maybe 40 something times.
Wow.
So
Damn.
yeah, because you got to keep running through it to fully get the story.
Yep.
And I love it. Love it. Baldur's Gate 3 looked interesting. And like you said, Remnant 2 looks spectacular. Risk, like you pointed out.
Yeah.
And that's really it for me, I think. That was really it. Oh, what was that game, by the way? Of course, Space Marine 2. That looked, man, top notch.
Yeah.
But what was that
I
game where it was
forgot,
like
Party Animals. Party Animals looks like it's going to be
The costumes look really good.
A lot of fun.
I'm excited for Party Animals too.
Great party game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
can't
wait
wait
one
to
of you
play
guys
it.
off the freaking boat. Just gonna say.
That's gonna be fun.
I'll be feeding
Oh,
Pete
you know
the
what
sharks.
else?
Yeah, what was the other one?
The Phantom Liberty DLC with Idris Elba. That did get my interest, by the
Oh,
way.
Yeah.
I'm actually
man.
excited for that.
All they need
Yeah,
is the
'cause I
Rock,
didn't
and they got
expect
the 3 big names. So I mean,
yeah. Armored Core. Now we didn't see much of it, like as far as actual gameplay, so I can't fully judge it. But I am excited for it, and I trust From Software, so I think that's going to be great. And I'll just say to close it out, The Lords of the Fallen, which is the sequel, right?
Yep,
That looks like it's going to be good this time around. The first one wasn't that good to me. I didn't care for it, but this one I think is going to be good. I think they've learned from those mistakes. So
Yeah.
it's some good
First one was
stuff.
very clunky. You felt very heavy.
Yeah, it
especially
did.
if you play Dark Souls. If they
Yep.
can fix that, then I think that they're onto something special.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Lords of the Fallen, the original. Yeah, look, it wasn't very. I played it for about an hour, and it just felt like you're walking through molasses the whole
Yep.
time. But yeah, if they could
Yeah.
tighten up that combat and the movement, then I think that will be a big. And it looks beautiful. Looks beautiful. There was a few third parties that we saw earlier in the year that weren't there, so I'd be interested to see what happens with them going forward. But we have to kind of move into the next topic, which is one that I'm a little bit concerned that people won't care about because no one seems to have come back to Halo.
Before we go there, Riskit, the best moment. The kid who comes up on
Clinton.
stage.
Oh yeah,
Bill Clinton, my rabbi of Bill Clinton. So, and so he's already out of jail, by the way.
I remember we were watching, I turned away and I'm like, Rabbi Bill Clinton, what did he say?
Yeah,
Like all of us are watching it, like, what the hell did he say?
Ex-Rabbi Bill Clinton.
yeah,
That was so weird.
yeah. It was what the crap.
Random guy just comes up.
that
Yeah, I
kid.
joined the party afterwards, and I was like, "What the hell did that guy just say?" He said something about Bill Clinton, and nobody knew about it. A few people didn't know about it. And they had to go back and watch it. I was like, "You didn't hear this kid literally say Bill Clinton at the end of it?" I said that made no sense at all. I was surprised people didn't hear it.
That actual kid is an activist, and
Yeah,
years ago when he was 13, he was actually he's done things like turn up on in different places like the Game Awards. And he was protesting for free the people of Hong Kong. So very interesting that he came out with what a lot of people have taken to be anti-Semitic comments. But it's just crazy that he managed to get up on stage. And as I said last night, he stuck out like dog's balls, man. Like he did not look like he was in place standing up on stage. And I remember thinking, I was like, who's this kid? Like,
I said, why do they have a kid up there? I said, why is there a kid up there on this? I said, what is that? I said, that kid really won, like, one of those Make-A-Wish foundations, for the game of the year. That's what me and Assassin were saying.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just weird. And then all of a sudden he's calling Bill Clinton out. So
yeah, it's very, very odd. And you can see that Keeley was pissed, man. It was great to see. I like it. He was not happy.
You saw his face after
he's trying to
that.
promote the thing in June, and he looks pissed. He's like, he's
The way
like the
his
music
face
thing.
looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, his face after the camera panned back to him, he was looking like, mother, please.
Yeah.
So good.
That
So
was
good.
funny. But that was
look,
dangerous too, because imagine if that guy actually had a weapon on him. How did they allow him to walk all the way to the stage?
Yeah, they have video of him like walking, just standing up with him and just walking with him like he was a part of the group. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. That's why they need like VIP badges on them, so when the security can stop them before they get that far.
Best
Yep.
moment.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a good
it was good,
moment.
though.
Well,
It's good to see.
besides the fact that freaking God of War didn't win Game of the Year.
Oh, that was the best moment.
That was the best moment.
Oh, I got a little bit worried actually, man. Towards the end, I'm like, man,
So was I.
are they going to
They were
get
winning
it?
all of them.
Me and
They were
Hargeet
winning
were
all of
both
them.
saying that, that God of War was going to win. I mean, it just cleaned up. I think there was 17 nominations that Xbox Game Pass games had, and only one won, as Dust Falls won one of them.
Yep.
I just don't
Narrative.
understand it. How a Bethesda franchise, their first new IP in 25 years, doesn't win most anticipated. I get that Zelda is a great
it's
game,
Zelda,
but it's
dude.
also
Zelda
the
has to win
second
that
one.
one.
You know,
Sorry.
but it's a second game. So you know what you're getting. This is a brand new IP. First in 25 years. How that doesn't win most anticipated?
I mean, it's probably
just
pretty
beyond
close,
me.
but you got to understand, Starfield isn't going to be as big as Skyrim. If the next Elder Scrolls, yep, that would be pretty anticipated. But Zelda, dude, it is big. It's big.
It's winning.
Zelda.
Hey, listen,
gonna
it's
be a
one
tough
game of the year already. We don't even need to worry about next year's game of the year.
It's
gonna
gonna be a
win
tough
it.
one.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Definitely
tough
gonna
one
be a
next
tough one.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
between those two, and then
You
whatever
got
Sony
Final
might come up
Fantasy.
with.
You got Final Fantasy 16
Mhm.
and
I don't
what?
think that'll be in it though. I don't
Resident
think that'll
Evil
be in it.
remake, which did almost won in with Resident Evil 2. Is Zelda's gonna win? As long it's gonna win.
I can see it
We were
being. I
getting
can see it being
frustrated, weren't
Zelda.
we, Hargeet? We were
What
getting
was that?
frustrated. Like every time that we were watching God of War
Yeah.
got nominated, it basically won. And so we were really worried by the end of the show that
Yep.
unfortunately the Elden Ring wasn't going to take home the major prize. And I was,
Yeah.
I just didn't really want to watch anymore.
Which would
when
just
it got
have
to that.
made it the Sony Awards, and you're
Yeah.
like, come on.
It was essentially the Sony Awards anyway. But
It
I would
was.
say, it was almost, if you all paid attention to it, it was like a replay of 2018, except in reverse. So RDR2 was knocking out all the awards left and right in 2018. And I thought, and I still believe,
With Red Dead.
yep, that they should have won Game of the Year in 2000. I
Yeah.
still believe that. I still hold true to that.
Yeah.
But nope, here comes God of War. Now I wasn't mad at it because God of War 2018 is a great game. I still feel RDR2 should have won. Come now to in 2022, God of War is knocking out 6 awards, right? They're getting all these different awards. And then when it comes to the final one, it seems so sure that it's about to go to them. And then it goes to Elden Ring. Yes,
Yeah.
karma, and it just felt,
I was like,
it
thank
felt
God.
right. It felt right.
I turned Twitter on. I was okay with turning Twitter on because if God of War would have won, Twitter would have been deleted for a month. I would never want to hear that shit.
It would have been unbearable on Twitter.
Yes. Oh my god. And now they're claiming, oh well, Sony owns 16% of Elden Ring, so it's a PlayStation.
I saw that.
I'm beating my head like you didn't say. Yeah. I'm like, get your head out your asses, man. So excuse my language. So
Yeah, look, absolutely.
good.
I think Elden Ring deserved to win this year. It was definitely the game that was the biggest game. It stopped the gaming nation, and people who aren't Souls fans played the game and enjoyed it. It was amazing. It wasn't a perfect game, but we won't get into that again. I am going to move on to the next topic though. But before I do, guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share us out. Let people know that we go live at 7 p.m. EST every Friday. Next topic is Halo Infinite. Dropped a whole bunch of shit. And I want to go to Pete because Pete's and Hargeet, possibly Mac, massively still playing Halo. Even though a lot's dropped, a lot's changed, and there's been a lack of content. This is actually a pretty decent drop, and there wasn't much word about this coming, if I'm not wrong. I haven't really been keeping up on the Halo to be honest. But what they have dropped, from what Pete was telling me earlier in the week, is a custom browser for Forge, which makes things a hell of a lot more easier to get to find matches, find things, find creators. They've done a remake of the Pit, and they've begun with cross-core customization. So that's it's not completely across all cores. It's only across, I believe, the Mark 7 and Mark 5. But Pete,
No. It is across all cores.
It is across all cores, right? Yeah. So I'll go to you, Pete, and you let everyone know what the new update is. And do you think it's going to bring people back? From what I'm hearing, it's probably not.
Okay, so the massive one is the content browser for Forge. That is the big thing, and it was a surprise drop. We didn't know when we were going to get it, and for them to drop it, it's been incredibly successful. So very, very easy to get into Forge made maps now. There is no longer a content drought for Halo. You can jump into Halo with your friends and just jump into any of these amazing, absolutely stunningly beautiful Forge creations that the community have come up with. It is beyond me how it's taken the community to make these maps, and 343 weren't able to do it. The pit recreation has also been added into rotation for this week. I'm not sure if it's actually in rotation in quick play, but it definitely has its own.
It is. It's in
Place where
everything.
you can go
It's
find
in
it.
everything.
So it is in
It is
rotation now.
that they
It
put
plays
it in.
okay. Yeah, it plays okay. It's actually a little bit of fun. It's great to have a new map. But the best thing about it is that content browser. That Dimensions map that we both played on Mac, Hargeet, that is
I didn't
probably
get to
the
play.
best
I didn't
map.
get to play. I didn't play on the Dimensions. You're talking about with the two different worlds where you can use the
Yes.
you pop. I didn't get to play that. Remember I missed that weekend.
Yeah, that was a great one.
That is
Yeah.
the best map that Halo has brought out, I think, ever. It is just amazing fun. So you switch between dimensions and you can only shoot people if you're in the same dimension as them. And it's unlimited. You only have a time limit on, so you can use the device to get to the next dimension. And I think there's like a 5-10 second delay before you can go in between it. That map is so much fun. Me and Blood Wolf and Flemish started playing, and Timmy, I think Timmy was there, but I don't think he jumped in. We're playing one of the parkour maps. We were on it for hours,
Love
little hours, trying to do this map. There's just so much content there, and there's the Diglets map where you just have to
Yeah,
jump
I was
up
gonna
and down
say.
through a bunker and snipe people. Just
So fun.
a
Love
lot
it.
of fun.
So
yeah,
fun.
There's so much. Yeah, there's so much more fun content now that. The problem is, will it bring the community back? Unfortunately, no. At times where I haven't been able to get into a map, I think it's come too little too late. I think the only way that you're really going to get to play Halo is late with your friends. So community game nights, Discord channels, I think that's going to be the main way going forward. We're actually going to get to play it. That is incredibly unfortunate because I do think that there's something special there with the content browser. But it is a lot of fun when you do actually get to play with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, I played it, and I didn't get to. For some reason, the content browser wasn't working for the first day it came out. But I waited. Next day, me and Umbra were playing that the Pit remake, like the playlist. Heck, me, Umbra, and I think it was Remy. I don't know his actual numbers on his tags.
Yeah, that's
But
Remy.
Remy, we're playing, and we sat there for about 2 hours, Umbra, and played it, and
Sure
just
did.
talked just like how we are now. And literally, I cannot say that I had a problem with it at all. It's fun. It reminds me of. I mean, it's not Halo 3 fun because Halo 3 is a different breed of Halo, but it was definitely
Favorite
good.
of all time.
Yeah, it was definitely a good remake. They done a really good job. I know there's a couple bugs right now on the map. They said that they got clearly got to fix, but that's just gonna happen because it is 343 still. Their games are not perfect, and Halo is. I mean, community-wise, yeah, there's probably not that many people, but the content browser will bring people to play together because matchmaking system does suck. I mean, I'm in the States, and like I said, it takes about a minute, maybe a minute and a half to find a game. I also have a high skill-based matchmaking problem too, which makes it worse for me. But it's still that custom browser is going to save at least the community that does play it, the 5 to 20,000 people that we can't see that does play it. I think they'll enjoy it enough to keep it going at least for a little while longer until maybe the next Halo or whatever goes on for video game wise that they like.
Yeah, just to add the cross-core customization. So any of the generic armor cores that you got with the Mark 7, so the yellow, blue, gray, those colors, they're added across all cores now. So the other ones, you were going to have to wait a while, but it is definitely a step in the right direction. It really, really is. So you can customize, like that Eagle Strike armor. There were like 5, maybe 6 coatings for that. I think it's doubled that, or even tripled the amount of coatings you have for that armor core now. So it definitely is a step in the right direction. They're not quite there yet, but they're getting there.
Plus, they gave out. I think I'm not 100% on this because I didn't see because I already own all of them. But I guess they did give all the cores out to anybody that's logged into the game. Is that true? I think okay. So I was right. Okay, yeah. So if you want that Eagle Strike and you didn't get to play it for that weekend because maybe you had something personal going on, now log into it and you'll have it. So now you can actually put that armor core on if you do play Halo. It's definitely get all the free cores back now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to check it out. Sorry, guys, I had to dip out there for a minute because my missus is filling up the pool and then forgot that she left the tap on. So I've got to slide
I just want to
into
say
it.
something real quick. See, Steph, you suck at Halo. That's all that matters. Okay, go ahead.
Oh wow!
But Hargeet, have you had a
Oh, I see
chance?
Steph
Have you had a
saying it
chance
to
to
him,
check out the new content in Halo? Or I mean, I know you've played.
Yeah, absolutely. I was playing a lot of that with Jedi. Right, we were checking out all those maps. Yeah, I love the new pit. It looks great. Plays pretty well. And then I really like that. Like is it Duck Hunt? Is that what it's called? Whatever the
It's called Diglett or something like.
Diglets.
Yeah.
Diglett.
That thing's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it.
so
Sniper
fun.
rifle
And
and
they're
duck.
so easy to find.
That one is
Yeah.
I
fun.
love.
Yeah.
It's so good.
What's Duck
but
Hunt?
yeah,
Is that what you could only hit them in? Because I used to play a mode way back in the day when I think it was Call of Duty 2. We used to we made up our own mode, like you couldn't put it in, but the rules were you couldn't shoot anyone unless their feet were off the ground. So we used to have a bit of a ball.
There
So
is a few
no,
Duck
it's
Hunt
different.
maps. I haven't actually played them. There's also a Squid Game map, which is the red light, green light. You know what you used to play as a kid. So if you walk forward, you can only walk forward during the green light, and then if you walk forward during the red light, you'll blow up. Just silly games like that are incredibly fun to play with your friends.
They also have the glass one too, where they got to walk across that bridge with the glasses. I seen KJ. I don't know if he's still in the chat. KJ posted it, and there was like they were running across the glass and I guess dying. I don't know. I wasn't there for that, but it was pretty funny looking.
Yeah, so the
To
Duck
answer
Hunt thing
your
that I was
question,
talking
Boba,
about.
if you look up camper, you will find Steph.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So
With
it
his
basically is
sports.
you're all in a hole and you can duck and nobody can see you. And when you don't duck, everybody has a sniper rifle. You just have to snipe people.
You're definitely gonna die.
Oh, that
You
is
look up too long.
that is cool.
So that's
man.
it. You can't go anywhere. You're in a circular hole. That's it. So
Yeah.
that is where you are. You can just look around and you can snipe. That's it.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, that's a pretty fun mode. But yeah, like you all pointed out, I mean, they got so much stuff they've added. We have to give thanks to the community because they've made so many great maps, man, and modes. And I'm interested rather in trying out a few tonight if you all are down. So I see KJ. I know he's up for it, but yeah, we need to get
That or
something.
Among Us. One of the two.
Both.
As long as somebody doesn't join, we're okay.
Yeah, and they also got the paintball mode too. You all forgot to mention that thing.
Oh yeah,
so that's another fun one. But I asked Rock, by the way, he can't attend tonight. He had work, but yeah. So, but either way, we definitely need to get some game in for this. I mean, it's not much else I can say that you all didn't already cover. It deserves praise for what they've done. They're definitely headed in the right direction. I'm just hoping that they get it better and closer to right next year.
There's also a couple of things that we haven't mentioned, Umbra. Like there was fluctuations in the ping. Then people were getting like 8,000 back to 20, 8,000 to 20.
Yeah.
They've fixed that, but only for North America. So they've pushed it out to North America first.
Yeah.
So if anyone was having that problem and you live in North America, it should be fixed. I don't know how it's going for the rest of the world, but there is still one major problem that affects people like me in Australia. I'm constantly getting over a 230 ping rate. You were meant to add local servers, and if you are the host, it's meant to take your server into account and then your fire team into account and find middle ground so you're both on a reasonable server. That doesn't seem to be the case. If you have more people in North America, and generally I play with you guys in the States, East Coast United States, you guys are running at 20, 30 ping. I'm on a 230 ping. That is a problem that they said they were going to fix. They said that they fixed and still doesn't run as they.
Oh,
and he's gone.
Pete's dropped out. But that was Duck Hunt. I just had Duck Hunt up on the screen. That looks pretty cool. I'd be down to play a bit of that, and hopefully I'll get a chance to jump in with the community.
He didn't duck in time. He got shot. That's what it was.
He got shot in the head.
He's probably
the
still.
other thing,
He's still talking. Is he still talking?
I don't know. He probably is.
No,
The other thing that's worth noting is that we actually got content drop in a month. Right, we had the winter update, and we actually got another content drop, which is alarming because they haven't done anything. Like, I hope this continues. That in January we get another content drop. That'd be fantastic.
Right.
And they did say,
they
did say that they would be dropping stuff in drop pods. And one other thing you guys haven't mentioned, but apparently they made some.
This wasn't a drop pod. It wasn't classified as a drop pod. It was classified as the last update for the year. So I don't know what's going on with drop pods or if they've moved on for them. But yeah, very strange how they worded
Because
it.
this was just like they just randomly put it out there. It was never talked about. It was just like, it wasn't supposed to be another 4 to 5 months before this content browser come out. And then just bam, they said, oh, look, tomorrow morning when you guys wake up, we're going to have this update. And bam, it was just there. Nobody even knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, but
Is that a Pokeball?
they did say
That's a
in
Pokeball, isn't it?
yeah, it was, yeah. They did say Jason Statham did say that they would just be dropping random stuff like whenever they had it ready to go. So
Yeah,
I mean, if you can assume that this is a drop pod, they didn't call it a drop pod, but maybe that's just what they're going to be doing in the future, which is great. He did say they were going to do it. The other thing I was going to say, they apparently
browser, something as big as that.
Yeah, they apparently worked on the melee as well, and that apparently has been tidied up a little bit. Is that true? You guys have been playing it?
No, Umbra, me and Umbra played it. I didn't see no difference.
Still there. Yeah, I haven't seen a difference at all.
I like to tell everybody when they play the game, like clearly everybody knows you can phase through each other, and I think that's the biggest problem with the melee system. And plus, on top of it, the ping and the server issue. But the biggest thing is when you can phase through somebody, melees are not going to register the same because you can literally walk through another person. You can walk through an enemy. You can walk through a teammate. They shouldn't have that. That's why the melee system is so broken. It's the biggest reason. They need to get rid of
the lack of collision.
Whatever they call it. I forgot what they actually call the term of it, but it's the reason why the melee system's broken.
I think it's called collision detection.
Yeah, that might be what it is. They need to. Yeah, they just need to add it back like every other Halo ever had. I don't understand where this came from. Whoever did it has got to be the stupidest person I've ever. They need. Hopefully, they left with the rest of the dummies. So
you think
Mac is why we can't jump on each other's heads like we used to. Remember when we were playing that parkour map? We couldn't jump on each other's head.
Me and Peter were trying to do it in that freaking jumping map. I'm like, hey, he's like, jump on my head. I'm like, bro, I can't jump through your head because I'm phasing through you. Remember?
Exactly.
And he was like, oh shit, we can't. Yeah.
Not only that, one of the head guy that was leading the live service left the team. I forget what his name was, but he was incredibly important to the team, and he's been one of the faces for 343. He's also left Halo.
You're talking about the multiplayer lead.
Yeah, he just left like about 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Who was it?
Yeah. So another big loss to 343. And I love that he brought out the content browser before he left. I think that was his baby. He was the one working on it. Also, he was the one to mention cross-core customizations. But another massive loss to 343.
And now it's tough to know if it's like they left on their own or this is part of the, reshuffling.
Clean up the garbage.
Tom French. That's his name, by the way. Tom French.
Yeah, Tom French. Yeah, French. They called him Frenchie. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But you're right. It's tough to know why he left. Was it because of the restructuring or what?
Are they gonna bring in more contractors to replace him? Let's not get into that. It's a whoa.
So they brought the MCC people, the people that fixed the MCC. One of the head guys of that is one of the guys that's now like one of the 3 people that is running 343 or part of running 343. So and we all know MCC is the worst launch in the history of online gaming ever. I don't care what game you put it next to Halo MCC, it's MCC is making it.
But now it's one of the best run now. That's the funny
because
thing.
That guy fixed it. Not saying just that guy, but he made sure they fixed it the right way. That's what I'll put it.
He's probably bringing his guys into this, right?
Yeah.
To fix Infinite.
Probably.
If they fix it, if they can make MCC good, I think they could be okay with making.
If we can get content drops like this, that'd be awesome. Every 2
to 3 months. Awesome. Well, I think after season 3, if we have to wait another year, if we have to, like a week later, if we have to wait 6 months for season passes, it's not going to live. It will die. It will die miserably. There's no way in heck. And I mean, it's $10 for the Game Pass or the Battle Pass, whatever you want to call them nowadays. They change it up so much. But it's got to be less than 3 months. Most games now are like 55 days. So we're looking at 2 months, It cannot be this 6 month thing. As much as I love Halo, I got a lot of games on Halo. I'm at like 15 to 2,000 games of multiplayer, and I got over 20, all the Halos together. I probably wasted 10 years of my life on it. So, and
is it a waste though?
I mean, no, it's not a waste because that's why I shit on all you guys because of that. But I mean, no offense, Peter, because Peter loves when he's not on my team. But
everybody, let's gang up on Mac tonight.
Well, don't worry, KJ's already talked about it in the chat, so don't worry.
Mac versus the rest of us, mate.
Yeah,
you're going down.
The other like really good, like USO Vinny and whatever, right? Like,
Vinny's good too.
Yeah, Vinny and John, Poppy John, I think is the other good guy.
Don is good. Vinny is good. Yep.
Yeah,
you gotta that's the biggest key thing is get the contact rolling, get the passes out. Don't make them so long. People don't like longevity when it comes to new content all the time. So it's just it
and I think with Halo, I think with Forge brings that back, and it's something that they should have had at launch, because this would never have been a conversation had they had Forge from the beginning. Yeah. I mean, look how quickly the community put together maps, and looking at some of these maps that I pulled up on screen. Shout out to Dingy for putting together some of these maps.
Castle one looks amazing. This castle one I'm seeing right now looks amazing.
They're just absolutely like amazing maps that they don't have to look as beautiful as the ones that as beautiful as the ones that
they do look as beautiful as the ones 343.
Some of them do.
That's the crazy thing about it. They really do. And the Dimensions one, 343 said that they were going to be taking that idea and actually making real maps out of it. That's how good it's. That's how good that map is.
That's crazy.
That mode needs to be on more maps and stuff.
Action set, free for all, stuff like that. Maybe like a weekly event of like the dimension of like I don't know, just whatever it can be called. Maybe a weekly thing, and bring out an update with it and say, add a custom core, or maybe some armor core that looks like kind of futuristic or something like that, like kind of like Marvel's outfits or something like that they had. I don't know, just do something like that. It makes sense. People will play it if it's there, but the shit is never there. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully this is a bit of a change for Halo. Whether it will bring people back, I think it's a little bit early. I know, Pete, you're a bit skeptical when you tried to play the pit and there was no one really there, but I think over time we'll start to see people coming back, and it's all talk. It's all like. People need to start sharing it out, talking about it. Once it becomes part of the conversation again, I think we'll see people come back to Halo. It's an institution. It's one of those things I don't think it'll ever die. But hopefully it does bring the community back.
Halo follower, Blitz, Sean W. all have Discord channels where you can get together with them and actually play Halo games. And all of those three guys have 10,000 people plus in their Discord group. So Halo is definitely not dead. But it just goes back to what I was saying. You're probably not going to find games within the actual playlists, but you will be able to find games like with your friends and through Discord and other means.
If you're not going to play ranked or quick play, find somebody custom browser, because all the other game types, there's not enough people in them. You're going to sit there for 5 minutes to look for a match. It's just how Halo is. Every Halo does it outside of Halo 3. Even Reach was like that. After a year, the game didn't have barely anybody playing it. You had to play 2 playlists, maybe 3 at most. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've been enjoying a lot is the co-op. Being able to play the game like fully. I've gone through and done everything with friends. It's fun, and a lot of friends hadn't played it, so we're getting to go through the campaign. Man, this game is just so good.
Yeah, I love Halo. Yeah, it's definitely it's my baby.
I did want to point out that Boba played with us the other day, and he dropped 6 or 7 times. And I don't actually know why it was happening, but I think he just ended up leaving because it was so infuriating for him.
Was it matchmaking? Was it matchmaking or was it custom?
It was. We were all playing custom, and he was the only one dropping.
And he's on Xbox too, correct?
He was, yes.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I know there was issues on PC still. I don't know if they fixed them clearly because I don't play on my PC with it. But yeah, maybe I don't know. It could be server based with him where he's at. I mean, he's in Australia with you guys, so I don't see why that would be a problem.
Right where I am, mate. So there's a few of us in Melbourne. So
tell him he needs to move back to Ohio where I'm at. He can play on my internet.
Oh, you guys live together. That's cool. Look, we're gonna have to wrap it up for the. It's been an extremely long show. It's been a really good show. It's been we had quite a few interesting topics to talk about this week, and there's a lot of movement in the gaming industry. It's also good to see Halo dropping some content finally, even though it is community based mostly. And the other great thing is seeing the FTC take Microsoft to court, because now Microsoft is basically going to open up the FTC. I can't wait for that. Personally, it's going to be great. I was actually happy about it.
Gives us content for the next year, mate. It's going to be awesome.
Maybe the next 3.
Maybe 4 years. So
talking about ABK over and over again.
Over and over and over again.
It is tiresome.
Wait till it's over. Cannot wait. We'll find other content. I don't care.
If Halo keeps
That's
dropping
another
content,
reason. That's
at least
another
it'll be
reason why I'm
something.
mad at the FTC, because them doing what they did. Now we got to keep talking about it.
I know, right? It just keeps going now.
Son of a goddamn. But anyway, it was an absolutely fantastic show. You guys have been amazing as guests. And the chat, as always, you guys are absolutely fire. Love having every single one of you here. And we really appreciate every single one of you. MacBound, believe your first podcast as well. Did a fantastic job.
First podcast.
Had a great time having you on the show.
Congrats.
Yeah, good job, man.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks.
Let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're playing, what you're looking forward to. And just again, I'll add to everyone in the chat, if you want to find anyone that's on the panel or our guests, you can find their information down there in the links below in the description.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at MacBound_. Like I said earlier, I've been playing Need for Speed. I just started really grinding with that. Next weekend, we got High on Life, which I can't wait to play that, and the Witcher update, which is by far my favorite game ever. I literally rebought the new complete edition just so I can get new achievements in it again, because I'm an achievement whore when it comes to stuff like that. And I cannot wait to play that, but that's all I got going for me outside of that. So just going to be gaming like normal.
That's a busy week, man. Plus a little bit of Halo on the side. Hargeet, Chani, it's always great to have you back on the show, especially when we talk in FTC. Maybe you should be on every week. That's what's going to happen. Right? let the people know what you'll be playing, where they can find you, and what you'll be up to in the next week.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me again. And so check us out on Game On Daily, gameondaily.com and youtube.com/gameondaily. And Chani is my gamer tag on Xbox. And yeah, I'll be finishing up Danganronpa. I'll probably be playing some Halo with you guys. And yeah, I don't know, I'll find something else, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
He said if we kill him enough times, he'll sign up for Twitter. So
no,
everybody
that will never happen.
Everybody get on it.
You definitely should. I would love to see those battles. That would be. I could just kick back and I could just come home. It'd be awesome.
Imagine him and Nib crossing paths.
I'd love it. I would love every second of that. Pete, another great show, mate. Thanks for coming every week, giving us your takes. Let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, and how your week's looking.
JediKnightPeter everywhere. Just wanted to say congratulations, Risk. It's been a long, hard-fought road to get to 1,000 subs, and you did it, mate. So, congratulations. To everyone that supported us from day one, and to all the new guys, thank you so much, everyone. For the guys, this is the first week we've had super chats, and for everyone to show your support, it really does mean a lot. It means the world. You guys make the show. Hargeet, I think this is the 6th or 7th time we've had you, mate. You're basically just a panel member, the most generous man in gaming. Thank you. Mac, I will kill you once in Halo. I will, mate. I will. And thank you for coming on the show.
Dreams do come true, but not tonight.
And Umbra, mate. No show without you, brother.
I don't like how you left me in there like last, the way you just said it. And Umbra.
Well, your voice is very forgettable.
Don't tell Bushido. Don't tell Bushido that.
I know, right? Speaking of Bushido, I think you've surpassed him as far as guests go, Hargeet. He was harping on about that at one point.
Was he?
Yeah, passed him up.
We'll have to have Hargeet back just one more time to put that nail in the coffin. But fantastic show again, Umbra. Another great show. Really appreciate you coming back every week, giving us your takes. Let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, and how your week's looking.
Oh, man. What's this laughter in the... Oh, there goes Bushido right there. Look at that. Speak of the devil. He said he has a huge impact on our subscription base. But he gets no thanks. No, yeah, thank you guys in the chat. I mean, if ever you all are donating and you want to specifically give it to me, just say, hey, give this to Umbra, free of charge, all of that. Add those tips in there for me. Ignore these other guys. They don't deserve it. No, seriously, thank you all for subscribing and supporting us as you all do. And thank you, Hargeet and Mac, for joining us tonight. It was a good discussion. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, just thank you all for supporting us as you all have done. Honestly, like Pete said, I mean, I'm not going to get as sentimental and all that, but you know, thank you all for coming through. I really appreciate it, and we all appreciate it. And Risk, you have been doing a great job, brother. You continue doing what you're doing, and I'm grateful that we all came together to get to this point and get us up to where we're at now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And yeah, come and join us for Halo night tonight, and maybe Among Us, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, where you can find me. Twitter on Infinite Umbra, Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. And of course on Xbox Factor on Tuesdays at excuse me, is it 11 or 12 now? I think it's 12 Eastern. Yeah, 12 Eastern.
Mhm.
And
Well,
of course here.
You
already know.
guys keep changing the times on me, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
I'm confused too.
I was just in the background adding Game On Dailies anywhere you can find Game On Daily, which I hadn't done. I just pretty much had Hargeet, Chani, and then nowhere written underneath because he only has a Discord and an Xbox thing, but I've added all those in. So you will be able to find Game On Daily in the description down below now. And as for me, man, I think I'll probably I'm going to get Need for Speed. I think I might jump back on Halo and give that a crack and actually get back on the Xbox and have a crack at Call of Duty again. It's been a while. I haven't lost my touch. Mac, 1v1 me. I'm going to take you down.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, man,
I was going to say, man, don't we still have to run through Halo, by the way, guys, to go through the campaign?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And look, I need to get some new damn footage that's not locking up every 5 seconds. I'll sort that recording problem out for next week. So you'll see that footage next week. Don't forget to join us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. You guys in the chat are absolutely fucking awesome. I love every single one of you guys, except for that guy that was talking about that stuff earlier on that I told him to reconnect.
That's the guy that you muted a long time ago.
Yeah, I did mute him. Yeah,
I tried to be nice. I did try and be nice and welcoming, but man, that guy has issues, bro.
Yeah. It's way too much.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is what he is.
Yeah, I don't want to get demonetized, so I don't really give a shit. It's way too much dick in that guy.
Nobody pay attention. Nobody pay attention to Steph. He says, when in doubt, vote Umbra out. Ignore him.
Big brain, so you got to.
That's why y'all get killed. Y'all don't listen to me.
Anyway, you guys are amazing.
I know you'll tell, mate.
We'll see you. Stop cussing, said Mr. Bushido. I'm Australian. It's just talking normal words. We'll see you all next week.
See you guys.
Later.
Your stream will